And none other than Mr. Suresh Dadlani is going to be presenting this session along with Rashmi and Junaid. But let's get started with, Suresh first.
And hello. I think before Shamla and their close, two things which were missed out, Satya. One is we had an award session yesterday, and some of those who were to receive awards were in the conference, but they loved Dubai sightseeing more than being in the evening with us. And if they are back, I think just after coffee break, we'll hand it over to them. That's one. And secondly, we didn't have the group photo. So what I propose is that when we are out for coffee break, they will arrange the things, and we'll have first group photo, award function, then continue. So only request is please cut down the time in coffee time, and please be back. Thank you. So I think firstly, thank you very much, Satya and Shamla, for the introduction. And as I always talk to my colleagues, that professional services is very close to my heart because not because everything other than this is not professional, everything is professional, but this is little extraordinary in the sense that this is where we look for identifying the pain points with our customers, with CISOs, CTOs, or CIOs, and obviously when they are in the midst of number of projects, number of activities which they are carrying out, they come across the situations when they sometime for a short period lack capabilities, capacities, or they need somebody to support them. And companies cannot be recruiting people with high skills for a short period of time. If it is required for a longer period of time, people work on it. But for a short period of time, it's not neither advisable nor desirable because it will be expensive and you become unviable like anyone. So we thought on that and we said, we do everything. We do compliances for all, as I only knew 68 or 70, but Mike mentioned over 100. So I think I'll make up. But I then counted that at least there are 30 which are regional compliances, which are there. And maybe now with that, Mike, it will be 130. Will it be 130 if there are 30 regional compliances? I do not know. But anyway, so it's good to see more compliances. My business is compliance. I thank the regulatory bodies and regulatory body and standard bodies when they create more compliances. More compliances means more interaction with you people, and which means, of course, more business because we are here for business. And then when you have more compliances, you are more complex, and you need support for you to be helped to achieve readiness. Our prime focus is to ensure that you achieve the readiness as soon as possible. Some of you have to achieve because of regulation and the time-bound requirement. Some of you achieve because of passion that I want to be doing the best practice, and we always go together on that. But I think this is not only one. As yesterday when we were talking about various sessions, one thing was coming out that nothing is constant. Everything is changing, and only change is constant. And when you have everything changing, the scope changes, the standards change, thanks to Troy Leach and Nitin for PCI. They keep changing every 3 years, and I get more business for that. But thank you. But I'm saying scopes keep changing, standards change, and then obviously people change, processes change, technology change. There is always a requirement of cost cutting under these constraints. And when you look at the cost cutting, obviously you have to look at every element which gives you value. And like we talked about AI should be replacing anything which can be replaced without disturbing the value. Human beings still will be there who add value. So in this situation, when we talk about, we are here all through the journey, starting from making you ready, starting from when you make changes, how do you implement those changes, starting from when you get additional compliance, how do we help you to make one audit? And the theme of yesterday, last session was how to make compliance easier and less fatigue. We work with you on all of these things. With that, I mentioned I started with this. I just want to read the last sentence. We work with clients and partners where failure is not an option. I think that's the theme. So we do everything to prevent failure. And therefore, we are the people who work with you proactively to ensure that failure does not become an option at all. Now, all of you are very highly qualified, educated, committed team. But if a member of added from for a short period of time from control case who has experience in thousands of certification, what we give you is cost effective and time efficient solutions. I think it's very important. There are always more than one solution to do any job. But what you should look at is what is the cost effective and time efficient solution, and that's where we come in. We are not individuals, we are a team, collective team of 400 people. When anybody is working with you, he has access to 400 experts around, and we talk to you. So we work with you under high regulations. We work with you as a global operations, like many of you have global operations, and you want to have single like here. Some of you are with whom I work, and some of whom with I will be working in future. Like I work like Wipro, where I work in multiple countries, and EXL and everybody, and like Explio, which we talked yesterday, that we'll be looking forward to working in about 20 odd countries, maybe in progressively. So multiple locations, and then basically multiple compliances, readinesses, etc., etc. So we work with you in various countries. We have people in about 20 countries now, and we have access to people for all the countries because this cover, if I have somebody in, let's say somebody in Tunisia, he covers neighboring countries like Morocco and Algeria and so on and so forth. So our operating people are in about 20 countries. And next one. So we primarily have been focusing, we are growing. And I think in this, if you see telecom, and my focus is that we are very high in terms of our presence for banks, financial institutions. We have all the major telecoms in this part of the world. Name it, we are there. We have a desire or a hunger to be in defense better than my US counterparts. So we will, in this region, find out. See, we are the one who produce everything for US, right? Technically. And therefore, there's no reason I should not have more. And I come from manufacturing, and I will be focusing on to manufacturing suppliers to defense from here. And I will personally do that because my 35 years of manufacturing experience, I will not let it go. I'll do that. Okay? Then comes healthcare. I think it's very important. And yesterday, next door, were a conference on healthcare. And I was very happy that some of these people found us more interesting when they walked in here. And then they said, I'm bringing some people from healthcare to meet you because they found they were talking all things which they usually talk. And we were talking something they will never talk. AI into compliances, into healthcare. So when they bring in, I talked about security services, cybersecurity services, where Shashank mentioned many things. But when you look at that, to be ready with AI, with automation, you need our support. And that's where professional services will come in, and we'll hold the hand, take you forward. We are a technology company, and we help you people to ensure that any technology you implement, we don't need to be involved into commercials, but we evaluate for you, say this will meet the regulations, and we give you that service. I would say, I don't have to say anything about BPO because I'm everywhere. I must say in about 40, 50 countries, we are working with BPOs, starting from India, Philippines, which is the major centers in this part of the world, but everywhere. Retail, we have there. Manufacturing, we are just getting there. We have few, but we are not. Education, we have some, we are getting there. Hospitality, travel, and entertainment. Construction, I mean, I was very happy when I said my professional services group certified construction company in Saudi Arabia with 7 ISO certification. And Rashmi may be talking after some time. So we are there. I think the two focuses which are to be done, one is obviously defense, and second is energy. These are the two things which are growing, and we will work on it. Energy and defense, in extent, maybe also linked because when nuclear power, etc., etc. But we will be doing on these. Next. So these are our customers. We talk. Next one. So our professional services, what you saw was the profile of what we offer. We have already got into offering services into banks, financial institutions, telecom, defense, technology, travel, entertainment, retail, manufacturing, construction. And it doesn't stop here. We will move forward to see that this list is full, a replica of the one which I showed you in the beginning. So let me now talk about pro services. We have every organization when they start anything, new product, new setup, new technology, there is a strategy and there's a roadmap developed, and you move forward. And we are there with you because we are a collective team of 400 people with experience in every single industry to help you to develop strategy. And my colleague Junaid will be talking on that after a few minutes when I leave this place. It's very important that when you're a global player, if you are not global and local, you are not complete. You have to be global as well as local. Now, if I'm not with regional regulations, somebody will offer that. And I don't want to see anybody else offering anything to my customers. I should be the only one beating them. And therefore, I fill up all the gaps. And that's where the road comes. So we do regional. And then, first, for some of you, the best for me is multi-standards assessments. When you do that, as I mentioned yesterday, one audit few years back, and I used to travel and meet customers, which I'm fond of. Every time I found I'm very busy because now this auditor is coming, and then go 3 months and I'm very busy. So we together, the team, discuss how do we really go pains, and therefore we created one audit, and I think some of you are familiar, and we'll talk little later. Uh, we then started looking at the security training because training is the fundamental of anything which will go on. We started offering you resource, not outsourcing is not the right word, but resource supplementing because technology wise, etc., when you don't have. So we offer you that. And then finally, we came to resilience building, which is what one of the speakers talked yesterday. I think the success is that you have trust, you have experts, you have multiple compliances, you have standards, you have to do vendor management because when you come to our customers, they have many vendors. And the weakest link decides your strength and not the strongest link. And therefore, if your vendor is weak, who's connecting with you, he decides your strength and not you. And vendor risk management gets ignored or lower priority primarily because you have business priorities, you have own certification priorities, etc. We are here to do that. The beauty is that our compliance hub, we call it hub because all the planes land there, all the compliance centers land there. And therefore, when we have that, we can configure this for any regulation, any compliance in a very, very short time. And we have been doing it for you. I mean, when we do in India, we are doing RBI regulations, multiple of them, we are doing that. And similarly, in Kuwait, we do Kuwait's regulation and so on. So vendor management is one which is coming up very fast, vendor risk management. And we have on compliance of that. We also have audit manager, we have merchant manager, we have all sorts of tools there which you should use. So third-party risk management, this is becoming extremely popular. And we are one who are offering to you. When it comes to large organizations, I think this is the biggest issue which you will be facing. And as I talked about, that we do compliances, consulting, readiness. I won't go in there because Rashmi and Junaid will do that. So let me talk about delivery of one audit. So far, our one audit concept was multiple compliances mapped and removing the overlaps. I extended just out of by looking at exactly by default what we are doing is we are doing multiple ISO certifications for a customer. And once again, we found after learning from customers who wanted in 2 months, 1 month, 6 weeks, that what is the overlap between 27001 and 27007 and 27, let's say, 22301 and so on and so forth. We found there are a lot of things which are common, and therefore we found 30% is just guesstimate, but it varies. So we said even within ISO family, if I have done today for you 27001 and tomorrow you're coming to me 22001, I will save by doing one audit of one ISO group of family. The second thing which I wish to tell you, my one audit extended is that we started, Satya and Junaid and the team started working with one of my customers in Malaysia who has 14 countries. And they wanted GRC with incident management to be monitored from central headquarters by CIO. And the purpose was, if we do GRC management, then we come to really governance, risk, and compliance controls, all that. So he said that when I do for this, I will tell you which country needs what. And you start doing one audit for all those compliances which are common to all these countries. And we just have begun that. And it's not small. I think I'm so happy that in 2025, this was one of the major achievement which we got it. And it will now extend further. So basically, as I said, experts access, less people, limited budget, multiple compliances, less time for compliance. I need it tomorrow. And the most important is the trust issue. I think everyone yesterday talked about trust. You have to first build trust if you have to sustain business. And that's where I feel very proud of that. And Mike was handing over the awards, 15 years, 10 years. I think though he's here for 5 years, but he saw that we have maintained customers for more than 15. The first bank I certified ever was Saudi Central Bank, and we still stay with them. So that is my testimony. So we give trust. And obviously, we are budget-friendly solutions. You need, as I said, you need effective and time-efficient solutions. You need people to provide expertise for a short period of time till you make ready. You have to address regulatory overlap, which is one audit in any sense, whichever. And then you have processes. When we work with you, we help you to produce write processes, write policies, documentation. Goal is to streamline processes. There is no separate policy for ISO or PCI or SOC or anybody. It's one single policy which should work for you. And again, last one is the first one, which is building trust. So now I invite Junaid, who has successfully implemented few projects. There are complex projects, and I wish to say I'm very proud of that done under the direct guidance of Satya. So, Junaid, please. It's a pleasure always.
So, good morning, everyone. I'll take a few minutes to talk about something new opportunity that all of us can explore. All the leaders, the CISOs, CTOs, the information security managers can actually explore this opportunity. I'm a technical guy. I'll talk about more from the delivery front. So before understanding the new model, which is compliance management program, one of the biggest challenges of the CISOs and CTOs and the information security managers is on managing their entire compliance program. Can we look at some solution? Can we look at models which can ease out the burden of all the chief information security officers and the information security managers? The answer is yes, and we have delivered it. We have experienced it. We have given it to our client. We have run it for probably in the last 2 years, and the results have been awesome. And that is what I'm going to talk about today. So, what are the components? Let's understand the components of compliance management, or you can also call it as GRC management. So, the first component and the most important is creating a plan, a forward-looking plan. You can create it in Excel, but we also have our own portal, GRC Compliance Hub portal, wherein you can create an entire plan for the entire year. You will have audits, you will have application access review, you will have network audits, network reviews. A lot of activities happen throughout the year. All these tasks have to be created. So you need a forward-looking. A mature organization always will have a full year plan. We've seen that in all the mature organizations. The second one is understanding what is needed to meet the regulatory frameworks, tracking the regulatory requirements. The regulations are changing every year. They are getting updated across the globe. The third one is evidence lifecycle management. We all know the biggest challenge, one of the biggest challenge is evidence. The time taken in collecting the evidence is humongous. It's a pain area. It's a big pain area. Audit readiness, tracking the audit activities. When is it going to happen? When is the auditor going to come? The travels, everything of the auditor. These are all the components. The next is the reporting. Action items, all that comes out of the compliance audits. You need to action upon it, remediate things, coordinate with a lot of people. You need to create KPIs and KRAs so that you can communicate to your internal management team. You need to create monthly dashboards, the CISO dashboards. Sometimes in some organizations, these dashboards are even directly communicated to the board of the directors. Then external certification and readiness, you need to coordinate with a lot of people. And the last one is maintenance. You need to coordinate with a lot of internal departments, cross-functional functions. You need to maintain the risk register, which is a mandatory element in any compliance, and the statement of applicability. The list of all the controls that are applicable to you across various compliances. Internal audit, after your audit is over, how are you going to ensure that all the audit points are supported, they are closed? Now, these are not something which is new to you. You all know. But what I've done is I've just listed them down. Now, this is important. How can you eliminate all those challenges? How can you address all those challenges?
Good morning.
You can do that by having one or more consultant
So much.
working with you. Now, this consultant is a hybrid consultant. He can work with you on site, he can work with you remotely, and this consultant wouldn't have only one single skill set. He would have, he would come along with multiple different compliance related skill set. He would have skills in PCI DSS, ISO, and all. Now, it is extremely impossible to get um, you know um, kind of qualities from all the compliances in one person. We all know that, and that's where the cost is involved. The hiring challenges are involved. Now, in this model, what you do is you get a consultant, but behind the consultant, an entire compliance organization is working for you. If you need anything, if you want, if you've got any queries in any of the compliances, in any of the technologies, there are people, there are experts who can come along and talk to you and give you all the guidance on it. Now, this is what I was talking about. A consultant will be embedded in your environment. He will do daily compliance. He will do all the GRC execution. He will work with the CISOs and the InfoSec team. He will do audits. He will coordinate with the risk team. He will do all the reporting and everything. He will be the single point of contact between various different departments, functions, and teams. But let's take an example. You need expertise, you need some information on cloud security, you need information on ISO 42001, which is artificial intelligence. Now, in that case, a domain expert is already sitting
ना,
behind in the consulting firm.
clients हैं क्या ज़्यादा?
The consultant will bring along all these domain experts and help you throughout the year.
10-20-50.
Not only that, not only the domain experts, but also senior consultants would be available for you to, at your disposal, so that you can run your compliance program. Now, the most important thing is the benefits of doing this. The benefit is your compliance programs are delivered faster, and you have clear visibility, faster resolution, sound decision, as well as you know the results. You have more confidence, you have more trust that you are going to pass PCI DSS. You have more confidence and trust that you are going to clear ISO 27001 or your local regulatory programs or your privacy program. You have more confidence because you know that the entire consulting firm is behind you, working for you, right? So this is one of the most important benefit that you get out of this program, which is the assurance, which is the trust. And it is not just about talking. So what we've done is actually we've implemented this entire model in a couple of organizations. We've been running it for the past 1.5 year now. We started with telecom. We moved on to technology function as well. Now, in the telecom, what we did is we started with only 2 compliance. The results were so amazing, the CISO expanded it to a couple of more compliances. And now at this moment, we are in talks on covering up their entire compliance management program. So our consultants will be executing their entire compliance management program. This is amazing. This is what we thought that we'll actually talk to you and inform you that this is a model which is working and giving amazing results. With that, I hand it over to my colleague Rashmi.
Good morning, everyone. So I would like to add into the current services which we are offering. I would like to mention the extension of our current professional services portfolio. So now, before I start, I would like to involve this room with a quick question. that please be honest with the answer and please raise your hand if you are confident enough with the ISO audit. So I would like to ask how many of you are confident about your next ISO audit? Please raise your hand. Good, good. That's the good response. So thank you. I'm glad to have it. Now, those who have not raised the hand, I would say that I'm glad that you all are here, and this is a great opportunity to connect and meet with our global president and talk more about the ISO services, how we can help you, and how we'll build the confidence to get you the certification. So now I would like to start with the slides which I have for today. Yeah. As most of you are already part of the ControlCase family, so we know you. We have all your information, your inventory, your scope, your documents and evidences. So you can get benefit of this particular engagement with ControlCase. So with ISO services, we can take all the existing and available data of you and whatever the data information we need for the ISO certification or the additional services you're looking for, we can add those in our GRC platform, and that with the help of the GRC implementation, what we can do, we can have your documentation, we can have your information, and then we can save the effort and cost and time which you're going to spend on the upcoming services. So this is how you can take the advantage of our extension of professional services, and this can benefit to your compliance program. So now we have a variety of ISO services which we are currently supporting as a consulting and audit program. So we have mainly ISO 27001 ISMS, ISO 9001 quality management, ISO 22301 business continuity, ISO 42001 AI management, ISO 27701 privacy management, and many others IT and information security related services which we are currently offering. So adding on to that, we are keep on building the new technology. We are keep on building the new services every year. So adding on to the current ISO program in professional service portfolio, we are also supporting global and local compliances. So global compliances along with ISO, we have CSS star, CMMI audit and attestation, data center audit and certification, IS audit, variety of internal audits, and with different kind of training which we are supporting with the help of our vendor. We have audit partner and training partner. Those can help us to have the accredited certification and training program for you. Along with that, we are also supporting for risk management, risk framework for you. We can create a risk framework for you and internal audit programs. So along with the global compliances, we are also offering currently the local audit and compliances. So if you have your regulator, your central bank requirement, anything which is upcoming, please feel free to reach out to ControlCase and we can build that capacity and we'll serve it for you. So we are currently supporting for Kuwait CBK CSF audit. We are supporting NESA compliances and many other regulatory audit in the UAE. We are doing the local regulator audit like in India. We have Reserve Bank of India that is supporting, they have mandated the RBI localization and tokenization audit for all the payment provider. So this is what we are currently supporting, and we are keep on adding to the list as we get the requirement. We will be developing the yeah. So now moving on to the audit partner. As you all know that ISO audits cannot be done by one organization if they are the consultant. So if we are the consultant, we cannot offer you the audit. In that case, we have developed a global network with different audit partners. So these partners can help us in the various way. Like they can save the time, cost, and we have a multi-standard support. They are the reputed accredited firms. If you have any local accreditation required like UCAS, NABCB, IS, IAF, or many other NAB, so those can be supported with the help of these variety of vendor we have right now, and we are keep on adding vendor which can help us to save the time. This can make your faster certification. If you have any urgent requirement, with the help of available auditors or firms, we can speed up the certification. Now, this is one of the thing on the screen right now is how we can support your firm to get benefited with multiple standard. From past 1 year, we have done combined certification for many of the client where we have done integration of the work, where we have done the ISMS, PIMS, privacy, business continuity, quality, AI. So we have done the combined audit, and this can definitely help you to save the time. And with the one audit program, we can integrate our GRC platform, and we can have a combined audit that will, be helpful for you. Now I'm gonna add one of the classic example of a success story in this field. Like I've mentioned, how the extension of professional services help to the different client. So here's a classic example of one of the reputed partner or a client we have from Egypt. So they have a requirement from their regulator or partner that they have to get the ISO done in 45 days. So we have supported them, and we have completed the program in 45 days, and without any major non-compliances that is being done. And we have extended our partnership with them, including the business continuity and quality management system. So this is how we developed the relationship with the client and became the partner with them. Another classic example of fintech firm, they have a requirement to get it done in 30 days. So what we have done the readiness health check and quickly get the audit done with the help of our audit partner. And with the help of that, as soon as we finish the engagement, we have got 4 or 5 different new ISO engagement with them. So this is how we are developing partnership with the clients, where we are delivering faster services with the quality. Thank you so much. I believe that's all from my side. Thank you, everyone.
Now we go to the panel discussion, and I invite Kaushik, my colleague from APAC, to be the moderator. Please come in, Kaushik, and he has the maximum pro services accounts when it comes to APAC. So give him a big hand.
Is it working? Hello. Let's check. Check.
Good morning, everyone. No? I can't hear you. Good morning, everyone. All right, so welcome to the day 2 of the global conference of ControlCase, absolutely. And let's do a quick check of your general knowledge. Machu Picchu, have you heard about this? Machu Picchu, heard somewhere? Great Wall of China, you guys have heard? No? Not really. Taj Mahal, I'm sure you would have heard, right? What am I talking about right now? I'm talking about a few of the 7 wonders of the world, right? Do you have any idea how many workers were used in building up these 7 wonders of the world? Maybe hundreds of thousands of people, right? That's why they are standing till now. But do you think that when those hundred thousands of people build that, that is the only reason why they are standing right now? Do you think with that? Today, if you'll see, there are millions and millions of dollars. In the case of Great Wall of China, billions of dollars are being invested to maintain that particular structure. So what does that mean? It means that just to build a particular product or a solution doesn't justify its being. You have to maintain it as well over and over years. Let's take a very simple example. You go ahead and buy a car, right? Let's say a BMW car. I like BMW, so okay, I'll be biased towards it. So okay, let's go ahead and buy the BMW car. Now you see that they go ahead and have a check engine light if there is some fault, or if there's a regular maintenance which is, let's say, pending, then accordingly they come back and regular maintenance has to be done. Why do you think the company, or let's say that particular manufacturer, is reminding you over and over again that you have to get the car checked? Why do you think so? By their goodwill gesture? Or they care about you as a customer? There are 2 things in play over here. One is their brand, their reputation. Because if their car breaks down, then it will be that particular brand name will go on. So they have to protect that, and that's why they keep reminding you over and over again, please get it serviced, please get it rectified. That's the first reason. What's the second reason? Of course, they have after-sales support, they have after-sales product and all those things. That's a monetary reason, right? But what is the gist? What is the conclusion from this entire conversation? Is that everything requires maintenance. You cannot just build, buy, or just use a product without maintaining it at any point in time. Because if you don't, then today, the largest economic wealth transfer is happening, more than $10 trillion of the world, because of cybersecurity incidents. An average security incident costs somewhere in the range of $4 million. In the US, it's around $10 million for an average incident. Why is it happening? Because maintenance is not happening correctly. If we think that, okay, compliance or any of these particular activities is just a point-in-time job, that won't work. That would seriously not work. And especially in today's era of AI, where more than 200 cybersecurity incidents are happening every day. Why? Because we have so much data which is being fed into the AI engines, which was not supposed to be fed over there. And then accordingly, we are breaching the confidentiality of the data at that point. So what will happen in today's session right now is we'll try to make sure that how exactly professional services from an organization will be able to suit that particular gap. And then accordingly make sure that you, me, and each and everyone in its ecosystem is secure at the end of the day. So without further ado, let me call around the panelists over here. Can I have the screen, please? Okay, let's have Mr. Brian Cohen over here. So let's give a big round of applause, guys, please. Okay, so he has the InfoSec practice as a part of, let's say, the KL. Brian, yeah, please. Brian. So he has the InfoSec practice with over 25 years of experience in cybersecurity. Please, have a seat. Yeah, please, the first one. Thank you. All right. Next. Okay. Next, we have Mr. Salman Ansari. He's the head of IT security. Please, guys, give a round of applause. Convene, with over 20 years of experience in cybersecurity products. And lastly, we have Mr. Saten Biswas, the CISO of, let's say, Yes Securities in India. And of course, I would like to call upon none other than Mr. Suresh sir as well, okay, to be a part of the panel. Thank you so much. All right. So I hope all of you have one mic each, right? Not Mike. So Mike is my CEO as well. So all of you cannot have Mike, but okay. So we have, right? All right. So I think at the end of the day, all of us are maintaining the compliance or cybersecurity practice, of course, for the brand reputation and all. But many of us are also working with the regulators as well, right? Okay. So let's start from you, Brian, right? Because you come from KL, Malaysia, right? How exactly you think regulators are paving the way for cybersecurity compliance practices, which of course it's helpful as well for the thing. So what do you suggest? What are your views on that?
Good morning, everyone. So I think with AI, the regulators are demanding more from compliance. So the responses, the queries that they have, the guidelines that they newly introduced, they want quick result and quick compliance. So I think what we need to do at the company level, we need to match the request and the need from the regulators. And what we have been doing is we make sure that our compliance program are in line with their guidelines. And also we have our AI-driven compliance program to match with the regulatory needs as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. So just to follow up on that, on Salman, yeah, you have, sorry for the mic over there. Okay, so um, from a regulator perspective, from a compliance perspective, specifically from a VAPT perspective as well, right? Because you take care of a lot about the threat landscape at the end of the day, right? How do you see that the current practices, whatever are being, let's say, done by the organizations, are good enough, or what kind of improvements we can have in, let's say, those kinds of practices?
Good morning, everyone. Regards to that vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, if you are asking, currently many companies are doing monthly basis, quarterly basis, or an annual basis. They are doing it. So you can imagine that the vulnerabilities or the fault finding is happening after a quarter, or after half year, or after a year, which is not acceptable right now because the attacks are also happening through AI. That means continuous attack, they are doing it. That means we also require a continuous support to protect ourselves from that. So I believe if we have something which is AI generated or AI related, which can work continuously throughout the globe, throughout our landscape of architecture, whatever infrastructure we have taken, that would be helpful and only that will work. And with the help of AI, we can do impact analysis very easily because if there is a thousands of vulnerabilities, we can't reduce that or we can't remove that, resolve that immediately. That is require, some impact analysis is required to prioritize the vulnerabilities which we require to fix it immediately. Otherwise, we will not fix anything, or maybe, low severity vulnerabilities we will fix early, and then later on, high vulnerabilities are still pending for a longer period of time, then again it will be waste. So better impact analysis, and because of the AI, there will be a reduced human error. There will not be a human error, faster productivity, and good statistics we will get from that AI. So that way the AI will be helpful overall, holistically.
Got it, got it. So if I understand correctly, then what we are trying to say is that the current set of practices, what we generally follow, okay, are good, not good enough, right? Accordingly, we should use AI to supplement the same and then accordingly improve that particular practices and have a continuous compliance kind of an approach on top of that, right? That's what I get. Satin, from, let's say, from an Indian regulator perspective, right? Especially because you are on the hands of SEBI at the end of the day, right? What exactly are your views towards these particular recent sets of practices and the guidelines, things like that? Do you think that, okay, it's good enough for the organizations, or we have to do the extra thing over there?
Good morning, everyone. So, and please excuse me for my throat today. Okay, it's pretty bad. Okay, so thanks for asking me these questions. I want to highlight one very, very important thing over the regulators. So, in India, as we are working with exchange, okay, so SEBI is the one to whom we have to, it's been regulated in India for all the exchanges, and we have to abide by all the regulations or rules or circulars they are coming up with. So one major change recently that I have seen is SEBI is not working in a silo anymore. They are working with NSC, which is one of the biggest exchange in India. Then with the BSC, MCX, they are coming together, building a different regulation together, and they follow the different REs, that is regulated entities, to go there and audit on the basis of one single checklist. So the question is very simple. Yes, there are. If you say, Kaushik, that if we are matured enough with the AI and the new regulations, no, of course, not that much. But the step has been already taken. The way they are coming toward together with on us, and the way they are presenting and the way they are auditing us, is the approach is it's very, very, very different, and that is good for the all the REs as well. So now it seems they are also very serious about it, and they want to take hard steps, and at the same time they want to give a training as well. So now they are coming with the regular tabletop exercises where they invite all the regulated entities and we participate on that. So it is not only that they want to abide with the regulation, but they also want to learn what exactly or what new we are doing to protect our organization. That's a good thought for them.
Fantastic. So learning is a continuous process, right? That's what we are getting at. So Suresh, sir, uh, so from the industry's perspective, right? I think we started from Malaysia and then went to the GCC, Bahrain, and then we went to India, right?
For us, I think we are the bridge between the regulators and the customers. Regulators keep changing regulations, which is what I mentioned, and I thank them. And we will keep learning to help them implement. So when you look at either effect of AI or BSc, NSC, because we work with all of them, maybe. So we have a relationship which gives us a little bit of advanced intimation what is going to come, and we work closely with them. We have been personally working with National Stock Exchange for a long time now. So with that, our goal should be we prepare ourselves as control case to be proactive and be ready, jump in and see that they don't get the pain. I keep repeating pain points. And my goal is to see now that whatever I learned between today and yesterday and now more is regulations will keep changing, AI will impact, and we have to see that they feel minimum impact and they get only advantage of that. Now AI should facilitate many things like we are doing in our own compliance automation. We are using AI. If this is going to help, but AI should give speed and accuracy. Speed for sure is seen now. Accuracy is yet to be seen. I think that's where for sometimes there'll be an overlap that we maker and checkers like AI. So I will say that we should definitely get ready, overtake any dangers that are going to come. You and I have big opportunity.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir. So Brian, now of course over to you, right? Now from a compliance because you have been heading the compliance practice, a part of your organization, and you have seen that in the APAC market as well, things are rapidly evolving. The technologies are getting introduced day by day, right? So from that particular perspective, what that applicability of the compliance practices you see, and how exactly it's getting improved day by day as well based upon different standards, whatever is there available. Any views on that?
I think just to add on what Suresh has mentioned, right? AI is accelerating compliance, but I think the governance and the responsibility still lies with us. So I think that's important. I think from our perspective, how we look into the AI technology, I think especially from compliance perspective is fraud monitoring. So actually, in terms of fraud monitoring, it does help a lot. It need to be tweaked, but it actually reduces a lot of time for us to monitor the fraud. It was able to detect patterns early, right? We don't need so many compliance officer to look at the cases, but AI does help a lot in this. So I think another thing that it's apparent that we could look into as well is our own compliance program, right? So in our own compliance program, usually when there's a new guidelines, we take a lot of time to review and try to harmonize it into our own guidelines. But now it takes very much less time. But that doesn't mean that we are giving or we are believing what AI is telling us, but we still have the responsibility to review the result, look at whether or not it is providing us the correct answers or not.
Fantastic. So what I understand from this is that it's, of course, we have to implement the best security practice, whatever lists are available. But apart from that, we have to also take care of the response time as well in the case of any of the mishap, because that is unavoidable. It will happen sooner or later. But how we are prepared, how much we are prepared, and how exactly we respond to it, right, matters a lot. So Salman, I'll just give you two words: AI and VAPT practice. Right? Give us some masala around it about the AI and VAPT practice.
I already explained about the impact analysis part.
Mhm.
and the continuous monitoring that can be done through AI only, and that is required as of now. So the only that thing I can say, that the speed part and the accuracy part and the lot of efforts we will reduce with the help of this AI. And I also like to mention that in our compliance, as he explained about that, in the compliance, I can say that the control case has done a very good job related to that one audit which they have. Recently, we have completed the high trust through control case. And if you know that the high trust has around more than 500 to 1000 control list, and with the help of their software, they ask only maybe 80 to 90 evidences from us, and all those things will get mapped automatically to those 500 controls. Otherwise, I was thinking that it will be a heck lot of work to complete that particular, to understand that what all evidences will be required for number one, number seven, 289, 389, all are same, but automatically it got mapped. So I was very astonished to see that that happens. So that can be done through AI, which the control case has already done. So that's fantastic. So these things we can have through AI, and application testing, regression testing, continuous regression testing whenever there is a code change. So early knowing the vulnerabilities that we can do through AI.
Fantastic. Pre-go live and post-go live is something, let's say, which we have to take care of, right?
Yes.
This particular perspective. Okay. So, Satyen, um, of course, TB is behind you like anything I know. Okay. And you, yesterday when I was having a chat with Satyen, he told me that his new year was the best as compared to any of you. Okay. Because on 31st and 1st, SEBI was doing his audit. Okay, his organization audit. So the entire night, entire day, he was there in Yes Securities. So having said that, I believe that the compliance cybersecurity is not just about what you implement, but it even starts from the architecture phase as well, and then it goes beyond the compliance thing. So I will precisely ask about your experience around this, right? From an architecture, from the implementation, and the way regulators, or let's say the auditors, are right now, let's say, questioning you. What exactly is your point of view from a securities perspective?
So, thank you for asking me this question again. Okay, so yes, architectural level, there are lot many changes is happening. So, as I told you earlier, SEBI is very, very serious about what exactly we are doing related to architecture. Okay, so it's not only the architecture how we are building, but that security in design should be into it. That is what they are more uh, putting in our head, that you have to make sure that there is a protection by design, then privacy by design has to be implemented, and there is a constantly continuous scanning needs to be done on your infra. So when the SEBI came with the cloud adoption framework earlier, so it was very it that was the first circular which has so many details into it. It gave us lot of clarity with us. Yes, so earlier it used to be that you have to develop something and you have to protect it as well. This time they were so crisp, so precise that you have to make sure you think of design of security in the initial stage itself and protect it at that point of time. So while understanding that, we have started taking tools. For example, for us is a CNAP is a very, very important tool which came into picture and helped us like anything. You just do a wrong configuration and that tool is able to highlight it then and there. So it is not only that has been highlighted, and we are also able to protect it very fast. These are the simple examples through which we can protect ourselves, I guess. Right? This is nothing but the AI which is coming into picture, right? And at the same time, our security is also very strong. So even though when SEBI come to us, their thought process, as I have earlier said, they are very, very solution oriented as of now, and they are coming very hard. It is not on the penalty side, but nowadays with the solution side as well. That thought process is so clear. So they come with a very, very simple thing. Okay, as first time I have seen so clarity in their mind. They are working on protect, detect, then response, and the last one is resilience. Okay, so for any organization, for me, for my colleagues who are sitting here, resilience is something which they want, because everybody knows that there would be an attack, but how fast we recover, that is very, very important. And for that, I guess AI is the one who will going to help us. Okay, we have to protect fast, and then we have to detect faster, and maybe then we have to respond it, and then the end word, which is very, very important, is the resilience. That is only possible when these three are in line, right? So I guess this is the only AI who will be able to uh, make us faster when it comes to run our business in a better way.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, okay, only 2 minutes left. Okay. So yeah, we have to follow the time as well. So in that way, let's to sum up, right? We heard a lot of buzzwords. First started with the regulators, then we talked about AI, okay, and of course the VAPT and the compliance regulations and all, right? So how do you see the next 10 years, okay, of this industry? I'll start with Brian, because Brian is into payments, right? Whereas the others have disburse, let's say, things. So from payment perspective, right, we have PCI as well over here. So from payments perspective, what do you see the next 10 years from a cybersecurity, from a compliance, from a regulator perspective, in which way we are going?
I think the regulation it's going to be tighter. The expectation from the regulators is going to be higher, especially with AI. So I think what we need to do is really ensure that we have our own AI regulations in place. I mean, even in a company, we should already have our own AI policy or our AI strategy, how we want to improve on our compliance processes and the system. I think the systems need to talk to each other to enable us to capture the control deficiencies early, right? I think compliance, it's not a point in time kind of thing. It's now a continuous audit approach. I think that is where the regulators are expecting us to do as well. So I think one of the things that I would advise is to always engage your auditors early whenever there is a new regulation or standards. Engage them early. Review your processes more frequently. I mean, if you have the AI, it's going to help a lot. So that is some of the recommendation that I have.
Fantastic, fantastic, Brian. So Salman, majorly the same question from you, but from a GCC perspective, because you have spent considerable number of years, right, in the GCC market. So what is your purview of, let's say, the next 10 years, 5 years down the line, and how exactly we are overgrowing ourselves for that?
Here, AI related, if you will see, whether it's a GCC or a globe, we should focus on basics rather than, hi-fi attacks. Because brilliance will always be there. Whatever you will have, they will come up with another solution to attack you. So we should focus on our basics. And what is our basics? Where AI can help is the prevention. So continuous monitoring will give you the continuous assurance of the security instead of point in time and compliance. Okay, so that way we will have a prevention, and at the time of resilience, which he was explaining, there human works. The AI, as of now, not working at that point of time. So only at the prevention that will work. Detection AI works, and at the time of resilience, we will work.
Fantastic, fantastic. Satin, uh, same question, of course, right? But from a SEBI or let's say from an India perspective, because well, let's say in double quotes, one of the fastest growing digital, let's say in the world right now, India, right? So how do you see the reshaping of let's say cybersecurity next 5 years, 10 years?
So, as I said, that teaming up together and discussing together will always solve your problem. So that is something which already started with us, that we can see with the help of tabletop exercises, regular meeting with the SEBI exchanges. So they are not only a solution oriented, they are seeking some solution from us as well. What are the practices that we are doing? I guess this will, when we are together, when we team up, of course there are a lot many things will going to resolve faster, and lot many challenges will also get be highlighted in front of them. Okay, the days are gone now when we have to work silo. I guess we have to be uh, very much understanding related to the process, how it is happening, and at the same time we have to be get together with the exchanges and all the peers around, how they are working, how they are solving their issues. I guess these conferences is something which again helping each of the organizations, right? Maybe some people are learning from me, and there are a lot many things that I have learned from day one, day two. So this is, of course, we will going to implement in our organization, right? So yes, in short, um, teaming together is very, very important, which we have already started, and that will always go around. Yes, let's go around, and that will only thing which will solve the issue.
Fantastic. Lastly, no, but even then, I'll actually request you for 1 minute at least. So you saw that, okay, the compliances itself, okay, might not be good enough. You have to have an extra edge on top of that, right? And I think that's where the professional services as well fits in. The subject matter experts come in, and then accordingly they make sure that okay things work, and for the maintenance of those particular activities as well. So what exactly is your view on
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, nothing is constant. Everything is changing. We have seen in 15, 20 years where we were and where we are. We have seen, I mean, like Troy was saying, when he started with some telecom or compliances, etc. In 90s or late 90s, there was no internet. The internet came and everything evolved. So the things will keep changing. The risks will keep coming, which is where you who are always involved with the routine compliances, routine maintenances, supporting your business all through, that there is no stoppage. You have to also have something which we call as support function, which comes to you from control case. Now, obviously, the requirements are quite a lot when you come to professional services, nothing single requirement. There's no single person who can meet all your requirements. And that's where I say the collective wisdom, it's what we bring. So I had an example, one of the national payment gateway in Asian countries, they floated an RFP to say, look, we want you to do gap assessment, this. And said, I asked them, where are you now? No, we don't have anything. So I said, why you want to create gaps? And then ask us to come and close the gaps and do that. So I said, what is the solution? I said, I'll work with you to create something which will directly go to the final audit and you will be certified. And we did. So I think if we work together, uh, it will be a win-win situation. Obviously, I've been talking about the trust. I've been talking about belief that we are your real partner and we are not here to exploit anything. And like soft space started something, now we have multiple compliances, you also, and similarly, you people. And it's our duty to hold hand where you need us and learn from you where you know more than what we know so that we use that skills move forward. So I don't think we are two different organizations. Yes, we are two, but we are one. We are complementing to each other. Thank you.
Fantastic. I think we cannot ask for a better wrap up than that. So thanks a lot, everyone, for the panel discussion. A big round of applause, guys. Thank you so much. All right. So we'll just do a felicitation as well over here. Yep.
Hello.
You will give. request Mike to please come on the stage.
Junaid, where are you?
Right, everyone, please, a round of applause, please.
Thanks.
Omkar, you are there? Let me invite my colleague Omkar. He is the SVP for High Trust. We have come a long way, and being a part of High Trust Advisory, he is the member who represents us. And I will ask him to please start his presentation. And then after that, we will have, before the break, we'll have an announcement of those who were not present yesterday at the award function, and they are available today. So after break, we will like to hand over the awards to them. Okay.
Thank you everyone for joining. I hope everyone's enjoyed the last couple of days. As you all know, the theme has been assurance, AI assurance throughout the day. So we're going to continue with that. What we're trying to achieve with this presentation is sort of understand what are the options available for you to gain AI assurance, why AI assurance is required, and what are the next steps. So today we've chosen a couple of standards. We've chosen ISO 42001, which is a governance standard. We're also going to talk about high trust AI security and how that together can sort of help you attain the assurance we are all looking for, right? So why is AI assurance important? Right? Gone are the days where AI was just experimental. The output was just used for some little things. Now real decisions are being made across industries, healthcare, payments, everywhere. And this brings in, real risks, right? To govern these risks and to ensure that stakeholders get the assurance they need, because now boards, even regulatory bodies, everyone's focusing on this. They want to understand, they know AI works, okay? That's not the question anymore. The question is, can we trust AI, and can we secure AI, right? Can we explain AI? So that's why AI assurance is very important. The base of, let's go back sort of 20 years, right? The base of information security back then was ISO 27001. What was it? It was a risk management framework, right? A governing framework. ISO 42001 is similar. This is the first management system standard designed for AI governance, right? It's again management system standards we are all familiar with, ISO 27001, PCMS 22301, right? This is similar, a set of policies, processes, and some oversight controls to ensure uh, that accountability is there. Uh, right? We've been looking at security, privacy with the same eyes. We want to look at AI with the same eyes, just ensuring that all AI specific risks, which are not actually, information security risks, right? These are separate risks because of the new technology, and we have to ensure that those are governed correctly as well. Like I said, it's very similar to ISO 27001 in regards of how it is designed, right? There's some key differentiators there. ISO 27001 allows you to have some security controls in place in terms of those annexure controls that you see. 42001 is not a technical standard. It does not, that's why it's not in the 27000 family. ISO 27000 series is security. 42001 is not a security standard, but it's going to give you governance for sure. There's some key objectives that we have for 42001. Governance, which brings in accountability, risk management, which if anyone here has been doing privacy assessment also knows includes impact assessments, right? So it's not just about introducing AI risks, but it's also about identifying impact to the society, to the stakeholders of AI decisions, right? So then AI impact assessment is a very new thing. It has its own standard, but that's also a part of this governing standard, right? One key objective is responsible AI. It is to ensure that AI decisions are fair, they're ethical, they're transparent. AI has been, it keeps us reminding that AI is made for humans, right? It's not made to introduce bias. It's not made to have opaque decisions, right? Has to be transparent. And then finally, there are some operational controls to ensure that AI risks are managed across the cycle, right from development to deployment to updating the models. Right here on the screen now, you'll see some recent AI security failures. Right, I'm not going to go through all of them. Right, these are your usual suspects. These are prompt poaching, prompt injection, data leakage. Right, guess what all of them had in common? They all had a set of policies and processes in place. Right, what they did not have were security controls. Right, uh, and that's where the gap is today. Right, the gap is in AI security. Governance is no problem. Security is the real issue. Right, there's a lot of different types of security gaps, model theft and poisoning. Where your AI model, yeah, attacker can steal your AI model or copy your AI model, or poisoning is where they can basically manipulate your model to bring in bias in them. Right, inference abuse, misuse. Inference is nothing but your output. Right, deliberately using the output to do things that it was not intended to do, or even negligent use of we've all used ChatGPT that way, right? Negligent of use of AI is one of the most common security issues we'll see. And of course, because of model APIs and all of that, that risk is directly transferred from information security, but this is AI specific, right? So what's happening now is everyone started looking at AI security with the same eyes that they were looking at towards information security, right? However, there's major differences there, right? As we've already established, ISO 27001 does not actually talk about AI specific threats, right? It helps you govern information security threats. It doesn't talk about AI security threats. Application security, guess what? Doesn't protect your models, right? These are completely new things which cannot be treated with our traditional security systems. So what do we need? We need some prescriptive AI specific, AI risk specific, AI threat specific controls. That's where high trust AI security comes into play, right? High trust is known to ensure that it provides prescriptive controls. They've carried that forward. By the way, it's a myth that high trust is only a healthcare standard. It's not. It's an industry agnostic standard and it applies to all different types of industries. Uh, right. So high trust is a standard that converts the AI risk that is governed by your 42001 into threat informed prescriptive controls, which are certified. Right. So there's about 44 controls, up to 44 controls, depending on what models you have deployed, depending on do you use sensitive data for training, all of those. High Trust has up to 44 controls, which are very security focused and AI specific. Uh, because High Trust has been there for a long time and High Trust has been recognized by a lot of regulators, payers, right? Automatically, it gains trust, right? Controls vary across different domains, access control, incident management, but it also looks at training data integrity, right? These are very AI specific controls which look at ensuring that your training data is not manipulated or is not poisoned, right? So together we spoke about 42001, we spoke about high trust AI security. Uh, Together we think what today you need is a demonstrable and defensible AI model, right? You cannot just claim that your AI is secure. You have to be able to demonstrate it. And this is where I think, along with 42001, that brings in accountability, governance, and a risk-based approach, and high trust security assessment, which has some key technical controls to protect or to secure AI. This together gives you a good AI trust model, which is defensible and demonstrable. Right now, where does control case come into picture? We've been, as Rashmi mentioned in the previous presentation, you've seen Junaid talk about it, you've seen Vaibhav, our cybersecurity team, talk about it. We have a partnership approach where we want to ensure that we come in at the right time. We help you understand the risks of AI. We want to help you sorry we want to help you determine the impact of AI, and we want to get you to the finish line. So first we start with building up your ISO 42001, right, which is going to be your base governance standard. We'll ensure that we review your policy. I'm sure everyone has AI policies now. We come in and ensure that they are correct, they're to the standard, and that you're set up to ensure that your AI is governed correctly. There's accountability. Once that is done, the next thing you want to look at is what security controls apply to you and what you should be implementing. We will guide you across that. Next is training your employees, right? We will ensure that our training caters to different aspects in your organization. Now, because we've helped you set up your AIMS, we've implemented we've helped you implement security controls. We know your organization, right? It's easy for us to now come in and provide our expertise to ensure training is done correctly. Then Vaibhav, Harsh yesterday spoke about very specific AI related test cases for cybersecurity. They will come in, they will ensure that the implemented security controls are secure enough, it's securing your AI environment, AI systems. And finally, will ensure that you get certified. Now, this could be directly through Control Case as a certifying body, or it could be through our partner network, like Rashmi mentioned. But our end goal is to ensure that you are able to demonstrate AI assurance to your clients. Right? This is a methodology. In our next presentation, you will see our CTO talk about the technology that we have that can support this methodology. But there's one more slide. This approach that I just showed you, this is, our version of a best case scenario. Maybe there's different things that you expect or your regulators or your board expects. There's a few other standards that are available today in the industry. I'm sure there's going to be more. right from everyone's heard of NIST, AI Risk Management Framework. There's a couple of security standards, MITRE being a very threat-based standard, OWASP Top 10. CSA, in fact, has their AI CM now, which Troy was mentioning yesterday, which also has some security controls. ISO 27090. This is a standard that's been in draft for 2 years. They want to absolutely get it right, and we all know how long it takes. But this standard, you realize, is in the 27001 family. It is security for artificial intelligence. This is what will be in line with ISO 27001, ISO 27701. It won't be just a governance standard. And then, of course, you have your law of land. You have different, regulations. The EU AI Act, UK is coming up with their own act. South Korea has come up with their own act. One common thing in all of this is ControlCase can help you with any of these, right? With that, I just want to leave you with, you know, mentioning that whatever support you need with AI, we can absolutely help you. Uh, Thanks a lot for bearing with me. I had a sore throat, so I was slightly down, but thanks a lot for bearing with me, and have a good day. Thank you. Nice.
I think in the earlier session, which was conducted by Kaushik, one of the members, expert panel members, Ansari, is there? Mr. Ansari, you are there?
Yeah, Salman was
Yeah. He gave his experience on high trust, and I'm actually so pleased to hear such things because they give us encouragement to become better and better. So compliments to you, Omkar, and we look forward to more such maybe during the break today.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, and thank you for coming despite both.
Thank you.
Let me now invite our brain technology, and this is Satya and Rupesh. Satya, I think everybody has already seen him a few times. He's our group COO, and Rupesh is CTO. And they will be talking about ControlCase technology innovation, compliance, automation, and AI. So Satya and Rupesh, please come in. Thank you, sir. All right. So today we are going to show you how ControlCase technology is really helping businesses to solve the real headaches of IT compliance, security, and certifications. So what we are going to cover on a high level is uh, how we are using our ControlCase technology for doing IT certifications and cybersecurity, and we'll be having a brief demo about that. If you see, every year there are more rules to follow, and whether it's PCI for payments or ISO for security, companies are drowning in paperwork. Most of these businesses feel audit fatigue when they have to undergo multiple different compliances. If you see, on an average, there are about 5 different IT certifications or compliances which organizations have to undergo. In our industry, if you see, there's a big gap. On one side, you see you have traditional auditors which are using manual methods, and this is a slow and frustrating experience for most of the customers. On the other hand, if you see, you have software companies that give you a tool, but they are not auditors. And you have to buy the tool and then find an auditor separately. And this creates a broken and expensive journey for the customer. At ControlCase, we fix that gap. We built a compliance hub. It's a homegrown technology which we have been developing since 2004. More than 2 decades, we have been working with customers to solve this problem. The experiences, what we are getting from customers, we are putting all those together. It's just not a tool, it's a platform we give
to customer as part of the service, and it becomes a single source of truth for all the evidence collection, what they do and how they interact with the, the platform. We are unique because we are the only global provider that gives you both the technology and the actual audit. What that means is we have compliance hub, and we ourselves are auditors for many standards that includes, several under the PCI umbrella, high trust, ISO. We do, SOC attestations through our partners, CMMC, FedRAMP, and on and on. So you don't have to look for a technology vendor and an auditor separately. We are one partner, and with that unified experience, we can do both for you. Here is, a dashboard for Compliance Hub. You no longer have to really guess where do you stand with respect to the status of your compliance. It can give you a real-time, updates for the evidence, your reports, and overall compliance status. When the chart turns green, you know that you are now ready for your certification. So we have just made it very simple using a very intuitive workflow. We also have ACE. The biggest problem today is, collecting those evidence, and, the ACE technology, which is nothing but the automated compliance engine. ACE actually goes out on your network and fetches all those evidence that is required for you to submit for any given certification. This reduces your time for your team by 40%. So if you are actually spending, weeks and months collecting the evidence for given certification, you will be able to save about 40%. And it lets your team focus on the security instead of data collection. There is another big wow factor what we have implemented on our technology, and that is basically collecting, reviewing evidence using the artificial intelligence. You have to wait for at least up to 5 days for auditor to get back once you upload the evidence to get a response. Whereas here, by introducing the AI, as soon as you upload the evidence, you will see the response in terms of, what is missing, or evidence is compliant or non-compliant in just 5 minutes. So what we are talking here is 5 minutes instead of 5 days. That's the difference what we are making. Our strategy is called as One Audit because we manage and we have integrated about 60 plus standards and regulations at the back end. We can really certify, we can audit, we can assess not just one standard at one time, but many standards through our One Audit methodology. If two different rules ask for the same thing, you only provide the evidence once, and you don't have to just spend your effort in collecting and then having back and forth with the auditors. We map everything at the back end, and we automate it for you. And we call this as assess once and comply to many. So with that as a background, a brief introduction to our platform, let's get into the real meat of the seeing the technology in action. And I would like to invite my CTO, Rupesh Tangsali. Rupesh, over to you.
You can operate this.
Yeah, this one, right? Green one. Green one.
Hello, everyone. As Mike mentioned during his session, that we had an investment in the self-service. So with the self-service, we'll have a quick demo on the self-service. So basically the self-service, it eliminates the guesswork and helps the companies how soon they can be compliant. Let's dive deep into the audit. If you log on our website, type www.controlcase.com, right on the landing page, the home page, you will see a Get Started button. So there are three key benefits of the self-service. The first one being, it simplifies the compliance. The second one is, it accelerates the readiness.
And the third one, it supports the growth. Click on the Get Started. It is a guided 8-step process. The step one being selecting the industry. So in this case, I selected the industry as BPO. It's very common over here, so I selected BPO, but it is up to the choice. You can select any of the industry. The next step is, there are 3 options in the compliance subject. The first one is my company, my customers, or the vendors. Third one is selecting the certification/assessment. Now, if you don't see an assessment over here, click on that other option and it will guide you through the complete process, and our BDR will get back to you as soon as possible. Our SLA is something around 15 minutes to a couple of days. But yeah, you will get a phone call from our BDRs. The next is the environment, selecting the environment. I have selected a hybrid option, a combination of on-premise and Azure AWS cloud. This is a very important critical step, which is basically it is covering all kinds of customer bases, the small, medium, and the enterprise. So the options are 251 assets, 100 employees, and 3 to 5 applications. Then you can select an option over here, which is I selected that most of our cybersecurity compliance standard which meets the ISO. Now this is as per your questionnaire, which is whatever the options that are applicable, mark it as yes, no, not applicable. Boom. This is the important step. It throws the result. Now since I had selected the SOC 2, that's the reason out of those 110 SOC 2 controls, it is around 69% of coverage. So that easy it is. So I will appreciate if you guys go on, if you can spread this across, let anyone who you know, just spread this message and it will help let them know the compliance. The next step is download. When you click on download, it shows the guided experience. Go to the registration process, the sign-in process. Now in this case, it will send the OTP on your SMS, enter the OTP, and the proposal is ready. Now there are 2 options over here. You download the proposal or you schedule a review meeting with the sales rep. But regardless, even if you download, you will get a call within 15 minutes from our BDR. The next is introducing the compliance hub. This is our compliance hub dashboard. My colleague Satya, he gave an overview about the compliance hub. So this is our dashboard, and the certification, it corresponds to the NIST CSF rating, which is based on the 6 core function. So we automatically calculate the NIST CSF score. Let's go through a quick demo of the compliance hub. So on the compliance hub, the first option under the My Task is the checklist. You click on the checklist. Our compliance hub is a role-based access. It will show all the applicable question under the My Task. Once you click on the question under the My Task, it will guide you to the experience to upload the evidence. Sometimes the evidence is in the form of the comment. Then there are various other options like control references. Now control references will show all the applicable assessment within the contract as a part of the included in service. All the added regulations will appear under the control reference. Now there are 2 other options. For the first time certification, there are templates available, out of templates available, so that you can download it, tune it, and upload it as per your organization. For the recurring customer, there is an archive option. So you can download the previous year evidence, upload it. So it just helps to hasten the audit process. The next one is a user assignment and the entity or evidence object. So evidence object is basically required for a large organization or for the organization where there are more than 1 teams managing one single question. Giving an example, Linux, Windows, Linux assigned to one team, Windows assigned to the other team, and then assign it. There can be a due date associated to it, and that can expedite the process. Following with the previous one, there was an option to upload the evidence. Now with our automated compliance engine, which automates around 40% of evidence, 40% of evidence can be automated through the ACE. We have two flavors of ACE. One is the ACE Lite version, the other one is the ACE Cloud. Most of the organization who don't like the connectivity from the compliance hub or the other party organization connectivity to the cloud, so they prefer the ACE Lite solution. It supports the operating systems, databases, firewalls, containers. All the major firewalls and databases are supported over here. Now, some people say the ACE Lite is a manual option. However, we do expose the APIs and it can be consumed accordingly. Some of the customers have consumed our APIs so that they have consumed the APIs, have written the internal script. It automatically connects to the compliance hub, download the ACE solution, runs the ACE Lite, backport the result back to the compliance hub, and the report is automatically generated over here. Then we have a ACE Cloud version, which supports the major cloud, which is AWS, Azure, and GCP. Again, there is the instructions over here where it will provide you the guided experience. And it is very simple, very straightforward. Taking an example of AWS, it is an ARN-based option to connect the compliance hub cloud to your AWS cloud. So over here, we have launcher scan. It is an asset scan and the cloud scan. So from the cloud scan, it will gather the cloud evidences, the network evidences, the firewall, ingress, outgress, and the asset scan is scanned using the SSM-based option. Once the report is generated, you can download the report and you can evaluate it. There is a ACE dashboard over here, and which helps view both in the terms of questionnaire view as well as the view at the instance level. And then it gives the synopsis, how we come to the decision of the report, whether it is compliant, non-compliant, or whether it requires an assessor judgment. Next is the AI-assisted evidence. Again, following to the change. The previous slide, a couple of slides back, I had showed the option to upload the evidence. 40% is automated using the ACE. The next one is the AI-assisted evidence. So there was a feedback which was provided by Salman Ansari. Thank you for that feedback. So the AI assistant tool. So how it helps is, so right now what we have done, we have covered around 93% for the PCI, 88% for SOC, 91 for HIPAA. I won't read the entire thing. It's available on the screen. Let's go to the demo.
I think you can just cover the next one.
The demo is you click on the questionnaire on the dashboard, and then it navigates to the questionnaire. Then the evidence can be uploaded over here. As soon as the evidence is uploaded over here, then our AI engine fires in the backend. It turns to all our checklist. Now connecting back to the Troy session. So we make sure that we are on the latest and the greatest LLM model. Now changing the LLM model is not easy. Though it comes on the latest, we have to fine tune. We have the repository of the questionnaire and the responses. We check our past responses, whether the LLM suits the responses, and tune it accordingly, and make sure we have a HDLC process, that it goes in the dev and the staging and the production. So we go through the entire life cycle. So as you can see over here, the AI responses is generated. It shows the multiple threads over here. So the customer can download and tune the evidence accordingly so that there is no red over here and everything is green, that is green. Now again, connecting back to Nitin Bhatnagar session, this is just a tool. We have to make sure that our compliance hub is aligned with the PCI guidelines. The final judgment is the assessor judgment. They will change the status. We don't change the status automatically. Assessor looks at the review the evidence. Of course, there is an efficiency because instead of waiting for 5 days, this is like 5 minutes. And then assessor look at it, they review it, and then they change the status. Connecting, there was some question from NCH, Nepal Clearinghouse, how the AI is integrated with the Compliance Hub. This is how we have integrated the AI within our Compliance Hub. Now on the one audit part. So on the one audit, okay. So in the one audit part, as you can see, the dashboard can be configured for one certification or multiple certification. This is configured for the multiple certification. As you can see, there are multiple statuses. It is HIPAA, SOC 2, NIST, and then there is also add-on. Now, how it helps the customer is, let's say if you want to add more certification, the most challenging part is the evidence part. The evidence are already there within the system. Now, since it is already there within the system, you don't have to re-upload it again. That's the pain part. Talk to our rep. The new cert will be added, and automatically whatever is in the add-on, it will be included in contract. Of course, the auditor will review it, but you don't have to upload the evidence again to the system. That's the beauty of one audit, because over the past 20 years of experience, we have created those questionnaires, the simple English language questionnaire, which maps to multiple regulations. The next part is about the continuous compliance. So for the continuous compliance, we support multiple cybersecurity services like ASV. Vaibhav's team does that part. So there are multiple services and all are interacted through our dashboard. All the cybersecurity services are listed. There is a ASV scan IVA that is happening behind the scene. The reports are available within our compliance hub to the cybersecurity services. Once the report is available, it is available under the report section from where the customers can download it. The next one is a consolidated dashboard. We have multiple customers where there are more than one dashboard, more than one processes. So this consolidated view helps because basically for the senior management, they don't have to navigate across multiple dashboards. This single view gives them a clear idea where all their processes stand, and accordingly where they see a problem, they click on those dashboard, and accordingly they can see a specific result pertaining to that process or dashboard. The next evolution of Compliance Hub. So one of the things that will be released in this 2026 is the CMMC Compliance Hub. No matter where you guys operate from, whether it is Americas, APAC, or Europe, the CMMC compliance requires an auditing platform. Now, this auditing platform is built on top of GCCI. ControlCase were authorized as a C3PO back in January 2025 on the Azure and the GCCI environment. So we made sure our platform is as per the US DOD's requirement, and it meets the requirement of DODs. Now, our CMMC Compliance Hub is not just an evidence repository. It is more of a guided experience. It is a guided experience for all our customers. When they sign up for the CMMC, they see control by control what they require in order to upload the security policies, security procedure, some kinds of artifacts. It will guide them to the complete. It will guide them through the complete process, right? Hosting it on the GCC high environment, it makes sure that we are in alignment with the security controls, the access control, and the most important part is the US data residency. All the artifacts is within the US ecosystem, GCC high and Azure government. So that's where, and again, it is based on the philosophy of low code, no code approach. The next one is a policy module. So on the policy, there was a there was a there was a feedback yesterday from one of the customer from Evergent that how we can uh, robust our product with some of the B2B product in the market. So this policy module will, as you guys know, that policy is a foundation of every compliances. That's the foundation. So with our policy module, right now it is released for our high trust customers so that they can upload all the policies and bang, it is cross mapped to all the high trust. Now we will make this policy module available for all our other customers. Now, what it supports right now, the three key points. It supports the evidence repository, it supports the policy. That is, if you have the policies, simply upload it. The second way is we have out-of-box template. You can download those templates and re-upload it as per your organization policies. And the third option is the version control. Now, policy is a foundation, but it is really messy. Every organization has the policies, but it is on the local drive, it is on the SharePoint, it is on the OneDrive, and most importantly, it is also on the emails. But with this policy module, it can be on a centralized location. Every policy is at a centralized location, and the features that will be added over here eventually is the ownership. The second one is a approval workflow, and the third one is disseminating the policy so that it will know when the policy was distributed. So that's something which is coming in 2026. The next one is the framework. Now, some organizations have some custom framework. So with this framework module, there will be a create import features. The importing of framework can be done for some custom audit, cloud security audit, access control audit. And as you can see, there are two views, which is a graphical as well as the list view. And multiple statuses can be configured in one single framework. And there is also a user assignment feature into it. There is a hashtag, so you can sort it by hashtag, and it can give a view at the highest level, and then you can drill into it. Drilling onto it, it will show the actual framework. But this is the highest level analytics. Again, this will be also coming up shortly in 2026. Yeah, over to you, Satya.
So that's all we had. I just want to remind you all that, we have got really some good stuff here with technology. And any of you would like to have experience of it, we are available. We can give you demo here, or we can have later on virtual as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's exciting to see this particular ACE with the A integration. I have one question. Whether it is not looked upon or you're going to look upon a little later, that's not a problem. The question is, we are using AI platform for validating the assurance towards the compliances. How is your AI platform secured from any data leakages, or how is your model trained, the LLMs trained to ensure the security of the data, what is being processed? That is the only question which I have.
Can surely expect that question from audience like this. And we ourselves are compliance and security providers, so we will always ensure that, this is first kept in mind, and, then only it is developed. So we have already, using the technology in such a way that the technology platform has been certified and compliant with various regulations like SOC, ISO. And to that matter, the data which we use for analysis doesn't leave the environment of control cases and fracture. So we have made sure that we have ensured that the technology, AI technology which is being used at the back end has been certified by a third party for standards like ISO, SOC, and few others.
The last question: is the LLMs privatized or it's a hybrid?
Sorry,
Is the LLM, that's what echo? Is the LLM a private LLM or a hybrid LLM?
we are using open. We're
No,
using
when I
open.
say in the open, when you take it from the open, you have the choice of removing all the noises, hallucinations, and other thing. Then you can make it as a private, or you can make it as hybrid, which means certain data will go to the original LLM creator for their future use. When I'm saying private, it is completely sanitized within your own environment. It is nothing is going out.
See, this technology is getting involved since last 2 years, and to take care of all these areas what you talked about, we are using multiple different methods, including RAG, which is regenerative augmentation, to ensure that there is less of this hallucination and things like that. And we have fed certain information which we know that what is the expected outcome, and we take care of all these areas. But happy to discuss about all these things offline as well.
Thank you, Arun.
Perfect. Thank you.
So, first of all, I think I wish to really compliment Rupesh for an excellent preparation and presentation. I mean, even for people who work in control case, we're all really, really taken.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
How much do we have? And I think we need to keep on updating our phone. Thank you so much. And
Thank
Satya, thank you. So I think before we break for coffee, I have a couple of things to tell you. One is, after you come back within 15 minutes, we will have group photo. Please come in time. The second thing is that those who were not there in the evening yesterday, we end there now. They'll get the awards just after that, and then
Yeah.
we'll start with the executive forum. Last but not the least is those who are to check out today, whose hotel is booked till this afternoon. They please should do it in time so that don't have to have any inconvenience. With that, may I request you quickly go for break and come back.
Folks, I just like to request the following participants to be with us right after the break for the felicitations. Middle East Payment Services, NMC Healthcare, Zeta Services, Vietnam Payment Solution, Joint Stock Company, Warba Bank, Bergen Bank, National Payment Corporation of Vietnam, Societe Generale, E-Finance, Islamic International Arab Bank, Bank Miss, Khan Bank, and Techline. Thank you. Enjoy your break.
Everyone for coming. This event is very important.
Yeah, we have a group photo. So there will be people who will be standing on first step, second step, and the top. So just leave a few seats in the middle, maybe about 6, 7, and you can occupy any seat. Yeah. If you want to be with me, come on the top if you want to be with me. Yeah. Please come up. Those who, yeah.
I'll first call Middle East Payment Services. Do we have Middle East Payment Services with us? NMC Healthcare.
Is NMC Healthcare? Okay, next.
Zeta Services INC.
I asked the account manager to also come.
Vietnam Payment Solution Joint Stock Company. Warba Bank. Islamic International Arab Bank. Bergen Bank. National Payment Corporation of Vietnam. American Express. Can I have Caroline on stage as well? Societe Generale. e-finance. Bank Best. Kanban. Emirates Integrated Telecom Company, do. Techline.
So may I request the next Executive Leadership Forum coordinator, which is Mr. Josh and Ashish Kirtigar, to please come on the stage. Josh is our Group Chief Revenue Officer, and Ashish is our President for UK and Europe for business. They will be conducting this session with due respect 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Yeah, because we are short of 20 minutes.
That,
You have to give in 20.
that means I can't talk as
You have
much
to
as
give
I
it 20.
normally do.
Okay. All right. So we have this leadership is focusing on to telecom and retail, and therefore I will ask my colleague Josh to invite the members.
Actually, Ashish,
Ashish to invite.
please introduce the session.
Very good. Is it afternoon already? Not yet. Till morning. A very good morning to all of you and welcome back after the refreshing tea session. I love doing sessions immediately after a tea break because everyone is alert and fresh, you know. So that's a really nice thing. Um, as Sir mentioned, Suresh Sir mentioned, the session now is the Executive Leadership Forum for Telecom and Retail. And this session is to talk to industry leaders from two critical industries in the market, retail and telecom. These are the industries with highest exposure to customer data, payment data, and a lot of sensitive data, making them prone to attacks from state actors, hackers, and corporate espionage, etc. So we are going to call on stage leaders from these industries to share their insights and thoughts with us on how to maintain and manage compliance and security in today's ever-changing security landscape. So I call on stage I first call on stage Mr. Troy Leach, Chief Strategy Officer of Cloud Security Alliance, followed by Mr. Simon Turner, Head of Security Governance and Compliance, British Telecom. Then I would like to call on Ms. Caroline Rodriguez, Global Head Audit and Compliance at Lea Group. I'd like to call on Mr. Sandeep Patil, Global Director, IT Operations and Infrastructure, Explio Group. And last but not the least, I'd like to call on Angie Woodruff, Director of Identity Access Management, Governance and Compliance at Jet Blue Airways Corporation. Welcome all of you. Josh? So, ladies and gentlemen, as we start the session, as I was just mentioning that retail and telecom are two industries which are very critical because they have very high exposure to customer data, payment data, and that makes them very heavily regulated. You know, regulatory bodies, customers, vendors, everyone is always targeting you to make sure that compliances are maintained and everything is being prim and proper when it comes to security and protection of the data. So in today's regulatory environment where we see so many divergent regulatory frameworks, but still you have to maintain some kind of congruence in all the different certifications and different assessments. So how do you look at this regulatory environment? How do you look at it from a global perspective when there are so many multiple certifications, assessments, which are coming into focus? Maybe start with Angie.
Well, for us, it's really based on how you align the controls and the different frameworks so that you're not repeating evidence gathering over and over. And you also monitor your controls so that if there's any anomalies, you can capture them and enter them into your risk registry so that you're not managing off the top of your head, but you have a controlled management cycle through the risk mitigation process.
Sandeep, would you agree with this approach?
Yeah, definitely. But if you see, from my side, we are the service industry company, okay, ITS service industry company. So we have all kind of sectors, not just telecom and retail. So where you have to have, all the certification which is required, that is the base, right, to get the new business. So what we have done, so we done the standardization across infrastructure, across certification, everywhere. Okay, so this is the global strategy for the certification, documentations, infrastructure. Then you have the local flavor in each location. So we have 39 countries offices. These are the delivery centers, right? 200 plus offices. It's really difficult to have the all the certification and compliance without have the centralized baseline strategy. Yeah, so that is the key.
Simon, as you handle a lot of multiple certifications with British Telecom, what is your thought on this approach, and how do you look at it in your organization?
Very similar to the others have said. So we implement the common security framework based on CIS. We then implement the key controls, which will then kind of give us the detail within that. And then we have a structured policies and standards and security specifications. So is when I talk about compliance as a consequence before, we literally start from the very top high level all the way down as part of the cyber GRC. And we kind of manage that throughout the whole organization globally. So it's one common framework. And that addresses generally the majority of all of the regulatory frameworks that we need to comply with. And then we just kind of treat individuals as and when they need to. And that's worked for us for the last few years. And that's how we've got to the place where we are now, where I like to say that we're compliant as a consequence. And whilst PCI is my kind of expertise and that's where I sit, now that I've taken on all the other standards, it kind of just proves that that method expands across all the regulatory stuff. We've got the Telecommunication Security Act that's just come in, and it's worked on that and it's aligned that, and it's just working out where we need to focus our investment and spend in order to meet those regulatory requirements.
Caroline, what are your thoughts on that?
I believe that the standard control framework becomes the foundation for all your controls across different standards and frameworks that come up, the regulations that come up. So that's your foundation. But these regulations, they do come up with certain best practices, that help you on your continuous improvement. So you build up with those additional controls, and you just look at maybe just addition to your policies, or whatever is the manual part, but you look at it as a continuous improvement to ensure that you're adhering to all the regulations and the
So I think one common theme I can hear here of what we were saying is about a common security framework. And I think I'm going to do a very sales guy thing, and I'm going to say that that's where our one audit plays a very key role, so.
You're a good man, Ashish.
I think, Josh, as we are talking of frameworks, maybe we can try on Troy and try and have his perspective on the cloud.
Yeah, I do want to start this question with Troy. And so it's about the establishment of governance frameworks associated with cloud migration, and how you evaluate whether the certifications are sufficient for the regulatory obligations, whether they're sufficient for the organization. And so I'd like to start it off with you, but I would like for everybody to chime in, because there's a set of shared experiences across these verticals inside of this.
It's a good question, because so for Cloud Security Alliance, how we look at this is we have an open controls framework. We think that not everyone is going to meet all the different type of controls. You have to be very risk-based in that approach. And so if you've ever looked at our controls framework, you can download it for free. And we actually map to a lot of the other frameworks. We map to HITRUST, we map to NIST, we map to all these other ones, because everyone is going to have different type of obligations. So for us, we think it's taking a more practical approach of being able to understand what is the return on the security investment. And we're doing a lot of research right now on, as you have to do 300, 400 controls and then have a lot of duplication of that for many different legislation, different mandates, where are you actually going to get the most value first and prioritize those type of controls. And so for us, I think the most important thing that we have within our framework, which maps into these others, is our shared security responsibility model, which is if you're doing cloud, AI, quantum, zero trust, whatever framework you download, there is a requirement for each of those controls to say, is this the responsibility of the service provider? Is it the user that's using these services? Is it a shared responsibility? Is it even a third or fourth party that's going to take this? Because what happens a lot is, as you're trying to meet compliance, you end up having a service provider says, oh yeah, I check all the boxes, but they're actually not scoping it for your particular environment. And so you can have a decent, transparent conversation as you're onboarding a new service provider to say, No. What you say here is that the user is going to be responsible for this identity and access management control. And I want to have a conversation because I would like to offload that to you. And let's start that now. And that's what I like about having open controls framework.
Thank you for that. If we could keep working our way down, although we have shared experiences, I think there's going to be some variance in what you think about it.
Yeah, I'm going to keep this short as well, give everybody else an opportunity. But similar to what you've said, working out roles and responsibilities and understanding what the risk is from each of them, I think is quite key to understanding what it is we need from each party.
Thank you, Simon.
I think the shared responsibility is the most important part. So you ensure that, not only internally, but with your third party vendors and even for your AI, you have the shared responsibility properly defined so that, you can bring in the requisite controls and ensure that, you're compliant.
Thank you, Grant.
Yes, see, from my perspective, if you have the because one hyperscaler will not sufficient, right, to define this kind of infrastructure. So it is hybrid. So if you have the framework, what you have mentioned that which helps, then such kind of have to utilize that to see all the hyperscalers are compliant with that. What kind of compliance certification they are giving? For example, in the case of Microsoft, AWS, they are giving the AOS kind of certification. We have to see what is there in the scope, what agreement we have with them, whether they will allow us to write audit clause. So these things are really key. And again, from the CIO and the budget owner perspective, they always want to save a cost. In that term, you have to have the local hyperscaler as well, where you can save the cost. But whatever the framework you have, how that will, uh, applicable for hybrid environment. Okay, so that also we have to see, and then maybe that will help for us to define the right infrastructure.
So what I'd like to add to all of what's been said is I think it behooves you as your organization to set your own metrics and agree on key KPIs or KRIs so that when an anomaly occurs, it's clearly understood, accompanied with the RACI matrix as far as who owns what portion of it, so there's no misunderstanding.
There's a really great point that you made inside of that about having to deal with what might come up in a given situation and having your own organization have those goals. The transition from legacy to modern is a constant. Everything's always changing. It's never going to go away. And for each of you, you're going to have systems that are going to be sitting inside of this hybrid state that's going across the transition that you're making. And each of you has to find a way to manage and measure the risks associated with that, which are also ever changing. If each of you could take a moment and talk about how do you deal with that hybrid state as you're making a transition and how it relates to your compliance journey, I would love to hear from you on that. You've got the mic,
So,
Angie.
I know,
Go
I'll
for
jump
it.
in.
So, yeah.
So what we tend to focus on again are metrics and KRIs because those seem to be definitive where everybody agrees to what they are and how they're measured. So when we have those instances where we're running both modern and legacy, again, it's about consistency, being able to monitor it, along with, again, when those anomalies occur or when there's those differences, having that platform where everybody can agree on what the approach will be or options are because you have the foundation already of what the KRI is or what the metric is to measure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, if we are moving from the legacy to modern, so definitely it's not the quick journey or over the period you have to see, because for me, I'm highly dependent on the customer environment. Whether that customer is ready, if you see the SAP and these kind of products, which is highly used in telecom and the retail industry, the modernization is not that easy, right? So we have to see what is the requirement and how we are compliant to that, right? And see To know these kind of gaps, we have to see the who is the business expert or the subject matter expert. We have to involve them, kind of control case, and then we have to implement these kind of changes and the infrastructure changes, whatever it is required. So the key aspect is to have the subject matter expert there to transition that, and then we will have the strong monitoring in place, evidence collections, define the responsibility, right? So these are the ongoing process, then we have to define.
Thank you, Sandeep.
I think the risks are evident when it is, in the hybrid or old legacy system. But knowing that, implementing the controls in your hybrid system, the legacy system, and the very because that's how you need to monitor. And in case there are any inconsistencies that were identified in your legacy system, you will have to ensure that it's time bound and closed before move actually to the new.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you. I personally like change, moving from legacy to modern, as I call it, because we take it as an opportunity to make sure, as a large organization, we've got over 800 different applications that are either on-prem, cloud, etc. So making sure we adopt the whole change control framework, making sure that as we get things in through our privacy impact assessment process, we can make sure that we've got frameworks, we've got secure by design, and then before we go live, we need to make sure that we've got all the regulatory framework in place. We've got the assessors, the auditors, the assurance, kind of all that kind of stuff. And it gives me more responsibility and accountable for my team, which is then growing as well. So yeah, that's how we kind of manage it. And I encourage change from legacy as well. It's a big requirement for regulatory on our side and a big cost, being such an old company as well.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference, Simon. Thank you. Right?
I'll just to keep it to two words: machine language. If you're not using JSON, OSCAL already to manage your governance program, you're years behind. And with AI, you're going to be even farther behind. I think regulators are already asking for real-time assessments, and to modernize, you need that dynamic information you can pull in real time. Regulators are seeing other regulators ask for it, so you're going to see a domino effect. But machine language, people should be looking at that as part of their governance program.
That's really great advice. Thanks, Troy. I think we have time for at least one more question, Ashish. Do you want to lead us down the path?
Yes. I think, the points which Troy mentioned, they are the perfect setup for my next question, and that is around automation and AI, because you just mentioned about machine learning, AI, and we were talking about transition all throughout right now. And AI and automation has been the biggest transition that has happened in the recent times with organizations. So when we are looking at compliance monitoring, and ongoing compliance activities, how are you looking from your organization's perspectives to build on the AI and automation capabilities and utilize them all throughout your compliance programs? Simon?
So yeah, my team keeps growing. We started as the PCI team. We then took on Cyber Essentials. We've got TSA, we've got PSM, we've got multiple frameworks, and my team's not getting any bigger. So one of my key objectives is to make the whole assurance program, and we talked about the continuous compliance, which is, I've only got so many people and so many platforms. How do I make it simpler? And my staff are worried about, if we adopt AI, they're going to be out of jobs. And I say to them, it's not about being out of jobs. If we can get AI and automation to do the mundane, the review of the evidence, making sure we're in a good state, then it means we can actually get through more regulatory requirements. We can double check where we are, and have a point in time. I'd love to walk in on a Monday morning after a weekend and have a dashboard that tells me where we are and what I need to focus on that week, so I can direct my team. So I think it's key for the future. Your comment about JSON and stuff makes complete sense and something I'll take away. But yeah, it's got to be the future, especially for me and my team. It's just getting bigger. We're taking on more accountability. And we don't do less with more, it's do less with less. So that's one of my takeaways.
I think I have the same problem that he has. So, it is all about, I think AI will just reduce our work in terms of evidence gathering and actually finding out what are the gaps between the controls and all. But the human factor still remains in identifying if there is an incident, reviewing, accepting the risks, and ensuring that, we are taking the right decisions to go ahead and we can just cut out the mundane stuff that we have.
Agreed.
Yeah, agree with her. So risk management is the key when you are doing the automation and the AI, because since there are a lot of AI, this AI ML, then LLM, SLMs, Open AI, lot of things are there. So we don't know where that engine is sitting, right? So it's really key to see where your data is going. Okay, so the data leakage prevention that you have to look in. So earlier it was kind of machine based, user based, but these days gone. Now we have to focus more on the data leakage, purely on the data perspective. What data it is, you have to have the data masking, categorization to find out, where your data is going. So what I can see is the data you have to protect first. You have to have the complete visibility on where your data is going, which location it is, whether within the compliance, if it is the European GDPR, whether that engine is sitting within that region. This kind of compliance is you have to.
So what I would like to add to that, it's not just about the data, access of that data, along with how the modeling of that AI bot
Right.
being trained, transitioned, and making sure you have the transparency around it. But I think one of the key things, not forgetting that human element, because there's that domain knowledge or knowledge that can help eliminate the noise, if you will, for those false positives that come out.
I think eliminate the noise is a very, very key statement that you made here, Angie, because I think one thing I could see the entire theme of everyone that said, it is that we need to have responsible and mature use of AI instead of just following the trend. I think that is what all of you mentioned here. And I know we are almost out of time, or rather we are already out of time, but I'm going to be a little bit bold here and still going to say that if each one of you can just spare 15 seconds and give me one statement to say that in the next 2 to 3 years, what are you looking from the compliance capabilities, either in your organization or from an industry perspective, that someone needs to start building from now? If Angie, you may start and we go down.
I'm just going to call ControlCase and you're going to fix everything.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I love that. I love you for saying that.
We did not pay
Yeah,
Angie. I just want to be clear about that.
I think in my organization specifically, it's more of the accountability coming from the executive leadership and the board, holding the entire organization accountable for cybersecurity, because it's not just cybersecurity, the team
Yes.
as a function, everybody contributes to cybersecurity.
See, the next 2 years, we don't know what will change because this is the uncertain market, right? So what remain is the right partners, right? Whatever you have existing, how you can take that to the next level. For example, how you can upgrade your security, what level on your budget, right? So we cannot say that. But one is the increase your controls you have. You have to have the single right partner who can see everything end to end. Okay. And then whatever it is changes require, what is new things are coming in, that will be easy. That I feel.
Thanks, Sandeep.
I think for me, it is about how my data speaks for itself, that, bring in more insights, provide management with decisions, and should not be wait for data after every audit cycle, but actually on the spot decisions that, we can take faster and move ahead.
There's two takeaways for me, quite simple, which is more automation, so I can get real-time data on where we are with our assurance and compliance, and opportunities to go out to the business and find more assurance, so specifically around AI and kind of the frameworks we build and assurance around that, because I'm not sure who does that today. But yeah, world domination for my team, I think, is what we're going to take. So lots of good feedback from this week's session. Thank you.
I think you're going to be shocked by my answer because it was my keynote. AI agents. You're going to have thousands of potential new workers that don't take breaks, work 24/7, and can go out and find things that maybe a junior admin couldn't find for you. And so I think that is going to be where people are going to see all the value and the new discovery that comes from AI agents.
Thanks for that, Troy. You know, at the beginning of the session yesterday, I talked about choosing your adventure. Each one of you has chosen the adventure of sharing wisdom and experience and teaching with everybody here today. Thank you for taking the time to do that. It's appreciated by all of us.
Thank
All
you,
right,
everyone.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, by the way. Angie, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Okay, I think as a token of respect and honest sharing, let's have the esteemed panel member.
Thank you, Troy. Yeah, this is for you. Yes, it's a gift. I hope you brought an extra suitcase. Yeah. Simon? Oh. A little bit out of sync here.
Please come to a stage and conduct the next executive forum, which is on healthcare and defense. I'll be supporting Shamla in this particular forum, but he's going to lead that. And we have 30 minutes, Shamla, for that.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you for joining this conversation focused on cybersecurity compliance across healthcare and defense. These two sectors operate under very different missions, but they're united by one reality: the data they protect is highly sensitive, highly targeted, and highly regulated. Today, we're going to explore how frameworks like HITRUST, FedRAMP, and CMMC, for many organizations, HIPAA as well, shape not just compliance outcomes, but real-world security postures. These frameworks were built to provide assurance, but the threats we face today require us to go well beyond the checklist. All right, let's bring out our guest. So joining me is going to be Karthikeyan Shadrash Karan, the Associate Vice President of Information Security at Movet. Dr. Donna Ward, Vice President of Information Security and AI Governance for B2B Travel. Rupis Rajesh, Director of Quality at Explo Group. Eric Winkler, President of Federal Division at ControlCase. Abhinav Kumar Shavasta, Associate Vice President of Information Security at NMC. And then Ahmed Shajani, the Group CEO at NAG Health. Narendra Narayan, Senior Director of Global IT Infrastructure Security for CISO. And Ampar Solanki, Senior Vice President of HITRUST and ISO Divisions at ControlCase. All right. Suresh, you ready? All right. All right, so question number one, and anyone can answer. Definitely want Amkar and Eric to chime in on this. How do HITRUST, FedRAMP, and CMMC influence real security posture beyond the compliance checklist?
So I'd speak for HITRUST. See, the fundamental part of HITRUST is that it is a multi-maturity level model. It just doesn't look at point-in-time evidence. What it also looks at is, does the client have, or does the organization is trying to get certified has the right policy, right procedure to, for example, if I have to do a user access review, do I have an SOP document to do it? Right? That sets up organizations to ensure it's just not point in time, it's future looking, and they keep doing that. And then, they keep updating their threat vectors, right, through MITRE and stuff like that on a quarterly basis. Every year, at least every year, we see a new version of HITRUST, but every quarter there's a back-end team that goes and does that. So I think that sets them up really well.
Adding to Omkar's point, okay, this is not just a checklist. It will have the tech-led monitoring. It will check the encryption and immutable backups, everything. It's a practically oriented, and it will address the layered or structured approach for ransomware attacks.
I would say from a FedRAMP and CMMC perspective, both of those regulations go to focus on continuous compliance. So they've established their standards and their requirements around maintaining compliance beyond being certified. So I think that's really the how they plan to move forward with both as they make changes and updates to both of those standards to ensure that organizations work to maintain their compliance and really focus on having processes in place that keep them in a continuous compliance state throughout the life cycle.
Great points from all of you guys. Continuous compliance is very, very important. Over the next 5 years, if we look at the next 5 years, how will HITRUST, FedRAMP, and CMMC evolve with emerging technologies? Put it so you put it up.
Over the next 5 years, I really for all for quantum significant for how we deal with vulnerabilities and issues in the future. So having safe quantum is certainly something that's on everyone's mind, and everyone is preparing for that inevitability when it does happen in the next maybe 3 years, 3 to 5 years.
So the next 5 years will be a kind of always be a data protection is the key. So now we have seen this development of AI. So we have to be more on data protection from either from kind of a more on those kind of technologies or kind of a data encryption. So we will be aware more on this to safeguard our data. It's not only a kind of governing. So we could see a lot of this, especially on this FedRAMP or CMC and high trust. We can see a lot of changes based on this AI. So it will be more on the security perspective. So we should be focused on those areas.
Right. So we did understand that the regulations are quickly changing based on the incidents and the attacks that are happening. And we need to be also prepared to get ourselves updated with such processes. So risk management is very key there so that we keep appraising ourselves and then adopt the latest requirements.
We at the health sector believe that HIPAA constitutes almost 75% of the requirements of high trust. So to make the shift is going to be easy, and it will give us a chance to be accredited for more time than just 1 year. It can give you like 2 years.
And just to add on to that, I mean, he's right, right? They're already positioned to sort of transition well. And high trust is sort of uniquely positioned to sort of address all of these next 5 year risks because they incorporate all of these other authoritative sources, right? Let's say Singapore is going to come up with a new AI Act. It's going to be available in the high trust portfolio, right? So you could do an high trust assessment. You could continue to do an high trust assessment, add on these extra parts, right? It could be regulations, it could be different standards, and then sort of ensure that you're audited against those standards, and that works for you, right? So in terms of security, yes, to what he said, it makes perfect sense to be ahead of the curve. But from an assurance perspective, because that's what stakeholders actually look for, high trust is very well positioned to ensure that they provide that.
Yeah, day by day, cyber attacks are increasing a lot. Down the line, next 5 years, iTrust is catching up very rapidly from EU standards, everything. It is equipping it on its own to handle any kind of threats in the future. I think it's in the positive side.
Thank you. So next question is, what's the biggest challenge your organization faces in maintaining high trust, HIPAA, FedRAMP, CMMC compliance year round?
So skilled resources, I can say, to get the right people in the market, the problem. And as usual, security with versus the operations team alignment be a problem. Okay, these two teams will have different objectives, perspective. These are our practical challenges to integrate.
From an assessor standpoint, because he's been our customer for over 5 years now, from his standpoint, he's very clear. I'll tell you from an assessor standpoint, when we look at organizations, trying to have that continuous monitoring in place, that's where sometimes the struggle is. There may be a control that they've newly implemented, they wait 90 days, get certified against the high trust requirement, and then they forget about it. Pramod actually yesterday spoke about the curve, right, where they have a hangover and then just let it go, right? So that is the key element where they need to have continuous monitoring tools in place, continuous improvement tools in place that ensures that they can always be compliant.
Okay. Any standards or framework, we should operate as an operating model rather than a kind of a checklist or any kind of monitoring, okay, which is a kind of continuous monitoring. These are the keys, okay, to maintain those kind of standards on any frameworks or standards we follow. So the continuous, as I said, the continuous monitoring is the key, and we have to adapt those kind of governance. That should be a kind of with the business objectives is the key. We have to map those framework standards. Then we have to align this accordingly. We have to do this continuous. That is the key for this.
One of the challenges that we've experienced is the same resources that are submitting the compliance evidence is also the same resources that's deploying the new controls. And it can produce audit fatigue when they're attempting to roll out something new and then grab evidence for the existing controls. So the automated evidence collection will be key in assisting in grabbing that evidence from the environment using something like your H Cloud. We also we're looking at validating, working with ControlCase on the AI validator to assist in validating the evidence, reducing the level of effort on the audit staff so that they can actually be more active in auditing the larger enterprise as opposed to just audits. So I'm sure others are probably experiencing some of the same challenges in working with ControlCase. We have come up with some ways to address those.
I will just put one question to people who are in this region, mainly about CMMC and FedRAMP. So like Movate or Explio and these companies are into BPOs in healthcare, in defense and all of that. What do you think should be the strategy to help these companies who are working with you for as a BPO to get them ready for compliance and then certify them for FedRAMP, CMMC, etc.?
So if you see this FedRAMP, okay, this FedRAMP, the kind of it enforces a discipline, and CMCs is a kind of building those continuous process. So when we seen this requirement from the customer, so basically we want to build this strong control, not only from this particular standards, we want to build from the organization level. So whatever the controls we are trying to build, that we want to align with the control which respect to those standards or framework we follows. And more importantly, all this we have taken as an operating model rather than as an audit. It's not a one-time we do as a regular practices, we have established, and more importantly, the governance and responsibilities has been properly defined. So that makes the organization more kind of a compliant, not only from the standards or framework, always it will helps the organization on a continuous basis maintaining this kind of a requirement. So that is how we do from our from organization perspective.
Just to add on to the point that you mentioned, it is basically the culture of the organization. And like you said, the fatigue is on the people who are collecting the evidence and validating it. So the key to that is to explain the intention or the purpose of this evidence collection towards each of these requirements. And that is where the entire organization takes that ownership, and then it reduces the fatigue on the resources who are validating the requirements and the so that is one of the important factors, that you keep your resources trained and aware of why they are doing it, and that will definitely help.
Yeah, I was going to add to that to continue what you're saying with FedRAMP, obviously, and CMMC, continuous compliance, but also change management, like making sure that everybody knows their responsibilities. If they make a change to the environment, how can you maintain the compliance, and what do you need to do to revalidate your controls? So having that responsibility and having people trained on their responsibilities is important.
Back to your question, we in the healthcare sector are in the business of making people feel safe and trust. So you have to earn the trust, prove the trust, and scale it. And one of the biggest challenges that we're facing right now is when you scale, you have to scale responsibly. And with the introduction of AI and the hallucination it might do, still in the health sector, there is some hesitancy in the introduction of AI things into our sector. It has proven itself very well in the radiology part and psychological part because, it's very expensive to sit with a psychiatrist. So, and it goes by the hour, but ChatGPT or whatever can sit with you forever and talk, and it hallucinates also through that. So these are the challenges we have to be as leaders who adopt these regulations, have to be really responsible about who we give this very sensitive and private information to.
I like that. You said in healthcare, you're in the business of making people feel safe. And I think everybody here could resonate with that because no matter what their industry is, whether they're the service provider, the merchant, whatever, we are in the business of making people feel safe to use our products or our services. So I do like that statement. Fresh, you have another question you want to ask? We have a little bit of time.
Talk about healthcare, its extension is insurance. And you're always linked with insurance. And most of your customers, particularly net health, who's operating is through insurance, I mean, with the insurance company. So how do you ensure, because your compliance is linked to insurance or vice versa, how do you ensure that you are compliant? What I'm saying that you are linked to insurance companies who are your partners. Your compliance and their compliance depending on each other's compliance. How do you ensure that the companies you deal with are compliant, and what do you do for that?
Of course, people think we do accreditation just for accreditation. No, it's not like that. Accreditation is, for us, is building controls and building governance and making sure that everything is done properly, not only from our side, but also from the side of the vendors that we deal with. At the end of the day, obtaining certificates also can bring in money. For example, at Nat Health, the international companies like Cigna and Aetna and all of them, they have a minimum compliance that they have to operate within. So when they come to the region, to Europe and to the Middle East, they have to comply with the regulations they're operating in. And one of the most important thing is they look for these HIPAA, GDPR compliance and readiness. All of these things, they look for them because they will be held responsible in their countries by their insured members if something happens wrong or one of the vendors does something wrong. So it's the same responsibility on us when we deal with the insurance companies that we cover, because at the end of the day, the insured member goes after us and after the payer. But usually they go after the payers because the payers are the one who have the big money. So they go after the insurance companies, and it's of the interest of the insurance companies to comply and make sure that for their own integrity and for own safety, to make sure that they are in compliance with the regulations, because they can pay a lot of money for making a simple mistake.
So as we kind of close out, starting with Dr. Ward down at the bottom, is there any advice that you can give everyone out there about staying compliant to any one of the regulations, HIPAA, HITRUST, FedRAMP, CMMC, or I know you do the NIST versions. And if you do multiple certifications, like how are you maintaining, and any advice you can give them about maintaining multiple certifications plus those, and for the auditors to give the perspective from the auditor standpoint?
So I'll start with CMMC. Eric gave us some insights yesterday related to the certification versus the self-assessment. So that was good information. So we now know how to proceed with our next cycle for CMMC. And I'm most interested in picking your brain a little bit more about software bill of materials and how that is being now not just a best practice, but mandated with CMMC 2.0. how do we handle multiple certifications? We do have systems that may require PCI or CMMC or a SOC 2. And the way that we're handling that is working closely with our control case partner, and we're doing the collected ones and then applied across multiple frameworks where the controls have been harmonized for us. So it makes it quite easy for us to work with our teams when they're developing and designing their systems and solutions. They're doing it for multiple frameworks, not just one.
Our customers also comes from a different background, different verticals. So obviously there are almost 10, 15 kind of a certification we do on an annual basis. And there are various regulations. We operate on different countries. There are various regulations we have to adopt, not only from data privacy, there are other kind of regulatory controls as well. So always we try to build those kind of controls or privacy related controls and we frame as a policy, and those policies are continuously kind of driven, and we will ensure that okay, these are not done only for an audit perspective, these are done as a kind of a practice we built as a kind of a quality driven kind of a security that enables the trust to the customer. So that is how we build and do a lot of certifications or complying with this, and we want to maintain that kind of uh, uh, compliant with all those regulation as required. And more importantly, we try to understand our business requirement. Accordingly, all those certifications or framework or standards, we try to align and we follow this as a regular. Thank you.
A similar approach that we have and suggest the same for everyone else as well. We also have multiple standards, but we have one integrated system. And through this system, we ensure that all our audits are taken through this integrated system. We have within the organization experts to different standards, and they help the compliance team in ensuring that they use the right checklist for the right standards. And that's how we are able to maintain the compliance with all our customers. And of course, there are best practices that come out from various other customer audits and others. So this is built in back into as part of and we are able to do that way.
I would say from a FedRAMP and CMMC perspective, continuous monitoring activities need to happen monthly. So you want to have make use of technology to kind of automate that as much as you can to obviously have whether that's email notifications to the stakeholders to actually conduct their monthly activities. You just want to make sure that becomes a regular process to ensure you remain compliant with FedRAMP and with CMMC throughout the life cycle.
I really think it depends on the size of the company. Sometimes you might want to outsource this function because it is a costly function at the end of the day. We at NatHealth outsource it to a specialized firm that deals with this on a 24/7 basis because the amount of attacks on the healthcare sensitive data and on the financial data usually requires that you're on top of these things.
From a high trust point of view, continuous integration of technologies and continuous monitoring and measuring your quality metrics, how effectively, efficiently these frameworks are useful to you, plus loss of incidents and what you gained and the tangible benefits, intangible. These are all, if you are keeping an eye on this, you are all set.
I think I want to give a different perspective because we hear a lot of clients tell us that, hey, our production teams are tired of doing audit, right? They do multiple certifications through the years for the same scope. That's the sole reason why we have one audit in place, right? We help clients bring their certifications together. So instead of spending a year on security audits, they're spending 3 to 4, 5 months at the max, right? when they free up their time to do it differently, that saves cost, brings in efficiency, and at the same time, it gives them one view of how they stand with all of these different regulations. I think that's a game changer, and we've seen a lot of clients go through one audit and succeed.
Thank you. So I think we heard from the CEO himself over here who said we were all in the business of keeping everybody safe and making them feel safe. And if we just kind of put it all together, if we're doing multiple audits, things that we have in Compliance Hub has really helped some of the people here doing one audit, uploading once, complying to many of the certifications. And then adding to what Eric and some of the others were saying is just continuous compliance, right? So even what we heard from Veb during his session, talking about continuous compliance, all of that we still can do in Compliance Hub. So thank you all very much.
For the defense, for FedRAMP and CMMC, the three people who knows most from our organization, apart from you, is Mike Jenner. May I request him to come and talk for one or two questions to answer on FedRAMP? Give a big hand. He's the one who led that.
Suraj, repeat again. What did you want me to do, Suraj?
Just give a little advice or some comments about yeah, about FedRAMP and
Okay.
CMMC.
Well, I'll make an observation about CMMC. It's complicated to become a C3PAO that is an auditor. I think there are 80 or 90 now auditors. Most of them are really small companies with a couple of assessors. Unique among the auditors, because we're a global company, we have assessors who are global. We have, I think, we have one just completed the background check requirements, and we may have half a dozen or so in the pipeline. These are people who have worked globally. They're in Canada, the US, have locations in Asia, and I think that uniquely we're going to be positioned to help suppliers to the US Defense Department outside of the US. So if we can help you, if you are a participant in any of those contracts, we want to make sure that you're aware we're one of the few people who are going to be able to assist you, and we're anxious to do that. For those of you who are today suppliers, what are you looking to? What are you hearing from your primes as it relates to when you need to comply with CMMC? I know, Donna, you guys have made some choices around that. What drove your choices to get, audited? And anybody else who's in a similar situation, please offer up your thoughts.
A few years back, we were in an RFP situation, and one of the requirements at that time was to have an independent attestation related to what is now CMMC2. And we partnered with ControlCase to assist us for the past few years. Now that we have the requirement for a certification, I think those conversations will need to come. Will be coming forward soon. We have a review with our clients who are primes coming up next week. So we'll hear from them what their expectations are at that time.
I have to mention here something very important. I was negotiating with United Health, Aetna, and Cigna in the US on them coming to the Middle East. And their first question was, do you have HIPAA? Because if you don't, you're not going to get anything. So we started researching with my team here who can help us. And the first company that came, and I'm telling the truth, was ControlCase, was the only one capable of doing this for us, because we coordinated with them through their Washington office. And we were able to do this. It took us a while because there was a lot of requirements that we didn't know anything about. with their expertise, we managed to navigate our way. And I would say today we got all of the international insurance companies on board on NatHealth. And this gave us a tremendous new revenue stream from the international sector. So thanks to ControlCase, we were able to get money out of the certifications, as they say.
Thank you. Thank you. Mike, you talked about defense. You're the CEO. Talk about healthcare also.
So, we talked a lot about HIPAA and high trust. I wonder, and maybe it's back to you. I know that's important in supplying in the U.S. What are the standards? How widespread is that in this region, in the Middle East and in APAC, as a standard that's meaningful for doing business? And what are the equivalents that you see out there in the market that perhaps are not U.S. standards but are similarly protecting PHI and healthcare information?
Okay. I have to go a little bit back. It's all about strategy, okay? When the Obamacare Act came into existence, it took a lot of the work from a lot of the existing insurance companies. Before, they did not care about going outside the states. But after the Obama Act, they started looking for other revenue streams. They were looking at Europe, and they were looking at the Middle East and the Far East. So I saw this opportunity coming, okay? So I said, we have to meet the minimum compliance requirements of these companies in order to take their business when they come. So we started a little bit early. The American companies started going into Europe, but suddenly the European regulator came out with the EU regulators on GDPR, which was so sophisticated that they would have to change their legacy software, and that will cost them billions in order to be to maintain business in Europe. So they started withdrawing from Europe, taking that into consideration. So the European blocked them by introducing the GDPR concept, and that took them away. So their other way was the Far East and the Middle East. And of course, Saudi Arabia being their main target, and the UAE. They are based here in the UAE strongly, and now they are moving into. So they needed a one-stop place that can do their claims. And this is what we're doing at NatHealth. We're expanding in all these regions, complying with the international, and also we're complying with the Europeans. Now we're GDPR ready and putting ourselves. So the name of the game always is positioning and never ignoring any info and trying to predict the waves that will result, what will result from these actions. Now, anything that relates to regulations relates to accreditations. And when you have it, it makes your life very easy when you get the decision. So when you're talking about the defense, I know a lot of people that want to do software development for the US, and they can't because they're not in compliance with now in Jordan, the US ambassador gathered us all and was telling us, listen, we have, okay, Trump stopped the USAID money, but we're getting another fund for certifying a lot of the companies in Jordan in order to do software for the states. So for them to be certified, they have to meet certain certifications, which I think ControlCase should look at because it's very important. And there is a lot of business to be done with the IT sector in Jordan. This is how you strategize. This is how you work. This is how you grow your business. This is how you diversify your revenues. And from a high-level perspective, when I look at this, people tell me always, oh, paying money on certificates is just a waste of time. I tell them, keep thinking that way. I'm going the other way, and I'm making money. Thank you.
Thank you. We are at time, But one thing he said that was very important is you can use certifications as a marketing tool. So I thought that was a good, really, really good insight there. Time is up. Thank you so much. Okay, no problem.
We'll start with Gururaj. We are going to have I think we have to invite three of our customers who either had a wrong logo at the back or were not present. So we'll first start with Mr. Ahmed for Net Health. Pradeep there.
Chant with us. And finally, Budgan Bank with Caribbean.
everybody. Thank you all for coming and for giving us your time and attention. I know, Saturday, time away from family and friends, and then Friday, time away from work. Greatly appreciate you coming to our event. It means a great deal to us. I've been very impressed over the last 5 years with the industry leaders who choose to spend their time with us, and very grateful. So thank you all. Have safe travels, and I look forward to seeing you next year. Suresh?
Mike, firstly, thank you for being here on, I think, fourth consecutive year, if I can say that. And yes, you spent about 1 week in traveling in these 4 conferences, not one conference. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think first of all, I wish to convey my sincere thanks to the speakers, honorable speakers, whose presentation made the entire tune for the knowledge sharing. And I wish to hear more from all of you, and I look forward to seeing you next year. Having said that, I think the panel members and moderators need applause because they did a great job in making homogeneous groups of various companies who have the skills, and they could handle that very well. That's moderator, and panel members were experts anyway, so they contributed extremely well. My clients who came all the way from different locations, the longest one is minus 30 degrees centigrade, Mongolia on one side, and Mike and Josh and Shamla from the other side. So we had travel from both the sides. If put together, it's about 50 hours travel from one end to another travel. And thank you all, and all the clients, I mean, they have come here. I must thank our partner, Ideator, who did a great job. And let's give him a big hand, Mr. Shamsher and after all, they did a good job because they had a good director from my side who was directing. This is Ranjita with her team. And I would like to compliment Ranjita and the team, which were Ranjita, Harman, Pradeep, and everybody we had. I think what we see is what we see, but what we don't see is far more than active behind the scene. And active behind the scene were my colleagues from marketing, Deepika and Harshita. Deepika and Harshita with Namdev from support. They did a great job. I mean, this time YouTube started right from the first minute of activities, and people started sending me messages that we are really loving to watch you people there. So thank you all. I think Deepika and Harshita and Ramdev, if you are there, you can come in front because you are looking all the time in the back. I think you should come in the front while I finish in the meantime. Please come if you are there. Because we didn't see you, you are all hiding behind. And Nitin and Amit, who are from our administration, I think they managed the entire show for the administration purpose under the guidance of course, Ranjita. So, thank you, Ranjita. Thank you all. Last but not the least is the Hotel La Meridian, a lovely hotel. And I think the arrangements, the support, and everything they gave us was great. And we hope next year they give us better rates. We'll be here. Yeah, that's the only thing I will like to leave, because Mike still wants next year in Dubai. But if he come to Dubai, he'll only come when they give us better rates. I hope they give us. So Mike, Josh, Shamla, Satya, I forgot. The entire technical management by Satya, my colleague. I mean, he's so close to me that I always forget him. And he's the most valuable in India along with me, who supports me there. So I thank him again. Once again, you should have a photograph with Mike because you are the people. Pradeep, Harman, can you also come on the screen? And Nitin and Amit, please come up. Is Devanshi and Yamna there? Yamna and Devanshi, are they there? Please come quickly. Run. Devanshi. And if anybody who did a lot of work and I missed out, they can volunteer and come up. We'll accept. Anybody who did a lot of work, and if I missed out, please come run it, and we'll have them on the stage. Anyone? Okay. Where is my commentator or host? Harsh, you are there? Yeah, please come. Harsh, you can run faster. We chose you because of height. Okay, so with this, I'm sure, I'm sorry, I must have forgotten. There are quite a few who worked on that. I'm extremely sorry. Apologize for missing some people, but at least those who I remembered, they are all here. And I really wish to say thank you. So we now break for the last event, last part of the event, which is lunch. And she's making an announcement. Yeah, so thank you very much. I think we can. Okay, thank you. I think we wanted to show my reel to them. I said, no, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Time for lunch.
Folks, just a quick announcement. You can use the QR code to download all the photos and save them for your memories. Thank you.